Is it sane? Is it possible? Still I ask myself, are we our game? It's not logical, but you contemplate, are we am I?
Sunday night, baby. Let's do this. It's time for the Minnesota Wild to finally see what a real NHL team looks like. That's right. The Toronto Maple Leafs are rolling into town with a big blizzard in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And, you know, it's so fitting because the Toronto Maple Leafs are so dominant and the Wild are such just buggy losers that we just step on. I really wish that was the reality, but it's not. Anyway, good afternoon, good evening. Hi. Really excited to be here. Pumped to hang out with you on this Bally Bet Sunday Fun Day edition of our SDPN Leaf streams. It is Leafs, and it is the Stanley Cup contenders. I think it's fair to say that, the Minnesota Wild. Now, before the game starts, I want to do a quick shout out here to friend of the show, David Alter. David Alter has been to 80 bajillion Leaf games in a row, and he's the only Leaf reporter who truly goes to everything, every practice, every game. He's always on the road. And today, that streak unfortunately ended because even though the Leafs got in at about 1 or 2 a.m. last night, David couldn't take their private flight. He unfortunately had his flight canceled. And so this will be the end after 440 consecutive games. Can you imagine the heartbreak that David has seen in those 440 games? It's a pretty special streak, basically dating back to when COVID ended. So that is officially ended. It's not even his fault. And his new streak starts later this week. But I just wanted to shout out David Alter because, first off, I got to tell you, I love David. I know him. We've known him forever. He was the first guest ever on the Steve Dangle podcast when we were nothing. So I want to say a big shout out to Dave on that. And, obviously follow his reporting because he's a really great reporter and just an overall good person. And that I think we can all get behind. Now, lots to show you before the game gets started here. First off, it was Jared Spurgeon's 1,000th game last night. Let's have a look at Kirill Kaprizov being a cool guy walking in yesterday. Kind of, you know what? I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous of how cool he looks. Now, am I pointing the right way? I think I am. No, that's the wrong way. Other way. There he goes. Oh, I was trying to pick his nose. But the 1,000 shirt is actually good. They didn't do something crazy like Spurge 1,000 or something. They didn't try to work it in a weird way. You remember Duncan Keith, the D1K? Why? And when Derek Jeter hit 2,000 games, the re-2-pecked, didn't understand that either. But, we had it. Now, Hayden, what else do we have to bring up here? I know we got stats. We'll get to that in a second. But what's the other thing? Oh my God. You guys are you're going to be so jealous. We don't get treated well in Toronto. Let's just call it what it is. If you're a fan of a team in another market, they want you to show up. In Toronto, they just sort of expect you to be there and pay your money and shut up and go home. Okay. Minnesota Wild treating their fans to, I think, potentially the greatest giveaway of all time. Throw it up on the screen, Hayden. Check this out. How much do we love this? Okay. The Gus Bus. Are you kidding me? The Gus Bus. And they're just giving it away? The Gus Bus? Again, this is not something the Toronto Maple Leafs would do. I'm telling you that's spectacular. We love that. Now, when the Minnesota Wild score today, be on the lookout because producer Hayden is a huge Minnesota Wild fan. We talk about this all the time, and he might have a few special surprises from his home that he's going to throw up on screen in celebration. It is us, Leaf fans, versus Hayden, and we think Hayden is going to behave. I don't think so. And the game has started. Now, the Leafs lost a heartbreaker last night in Buffalo, another snowy city. And a heartbreaker because they had the lead and then they lost it. And then they had the lead again, then they lost it. And then Buffalo's like, you know what? We'll let it play out till overtime. Don't worry. We'll take you to the shootout where we know you suck. And they're right. They were right to do that. They won. Boo, hiss. You know what? Probably better for the Leafs, though, that they lost. As much as it was nice to get the win against Anaheim in the Radko Gudas-Matthews kneeing game, let's be honest. Is that what anybody really wants? No. Now, something to look out for today, too, is Bo Grew, Jacob Quillen, and Steven Lorentz, who's been scratched a bunch this year, on the fourth line. I feel like that's, again, Berube isolating these guys and going, I don't want to play them, but management's making me play them, and I've only got 15 games left as the Leafs head coach, so I'll try to get them 9 or 10 minutes. Another guy I'm looking out for tonight is Matias Maccelli. I'm curious about how many more goals he scores. I'm really annoyed with him, to be honest, because he was terrible to start the year. Absolutely awful. They scratch him for a month, and then as soon as the Leafs are basically out of it, he's like, hey, you know what? I'm pretty good at hockey. It feels like one of those guys that if he has a good remainder of the season, the Leafs will be able to find a trade partner for him. But I don't think that's a guy you want back unless you guys think, and you can tell me in the chat if you think so, unless you think he's actually a very good player and maybe under a different system would do well. And there he is with the puck, dropped it to Tavares. Tavares has got Nylander with him, and Nylander really is the only one that looks offensively dominant for the Leafs right now. Minnesota just loaded with studs, absolute studs up and down this lineup. It's going to be an exciting playoff. I love seeing Troy Stetcher with the shot there, by the way. I love seeing Bill Guerin finally come out and say, you know what? I don't like this playoff format either. We've been saying it in Toronto for years. I think Tampa doesn't love it. I don't think Boston loves it. Florida doesn't mind because they kept winning. But nobody really likes this playoff format except for Gary Bettman because it's Gary's idea. And I swear it's going to switch once he finally retires in 1,000 years because he's a vampire, allegedly. But it was nice to see somebody as respected as Bill Guerin say that because he is right. Dallas, Colorado, and Minnesota should not be drawing each other to start the first round. They should be into the second round and ratcheting up the heat. I don't know. Koki Doki, is that your name? Koki Doki? Says Berube doesn't know how to use players like Michelli. Christian says Willie and Michelli have some chemistry. Definitely should keep him around. Okay. All right. Chantel Zeller, I went to high school with Bo and paddled with Quillen. You did? Actually? That's kind of neat. I like that. Hayden's got a fun Minnesota Wild fact. I doubt those exist, but I'm going to let him feed it through. Go ahead, Hayden. Mm-hmm. Oh, so when Danila Yurov scores, they play tequila, but instead of saying tequila, they say Danila. I like that. I think that's funny. Um, Colt says Connor Garland grew up on my street. I grew up on the same street as Chris Draper, Stanley Cup winner and gold medalist. Very nice guy from a very, very nice family. And I can remember him bringing the Stanley Cup back to his street and everybody from the street crowding into his backyard. It was pretty neat. Pretty cool. All wild facts are fun facts. No, they are not, Hayden. No, they are not. We can't be doing this. Ryan Whitney is from my neighborhood. Alex Tuck spends his offseason in White Rock, so I see him often. Played hockey against Nash and Perry growing up. I know my wife went to some parties in London when Corey Perry was a London Knight because she went to London. So she's like, yeah, I think Corey Perry used to be at like parties I was at. And that's all. I was like, Corey Perry was there. Did you say hi to him? She's like, no. Like, what are we even dating for? What are we even dating for? Delta Go Vista says, so here's a fun fact for the Minnesota Wild. They've never been to the Stanley Cup final. That's rough. That's rough. That's a rough bit of truth there, Hayden. Oh. Hey, Hayden, don't ask me about the Leafs. Don't ask me about the Leafs. They've done it. The Leafs did it. The Leafs, it might only have been 6 teams, but they did it. Hayden did not like that, by the way. He was not a fan. Not a fan. 16:30 left in the first period. I think I'm just guys, let's be honest. Let's go score predictions here. I'm going to guess the first goal happens in the next before minute 10 and it's going to be the Wild. Might even happen here. You've got the big boys out right now. Kaprizov's out there. He's got the puck right now. Back to the point to Quinn Hughes. Or no, that's Spurgeon. That's not Quinn Hughes. Yeah, well, yeah, they didn't go get the number 1 center they needed to get, but that's okay. I still think they should have gotten like Nick Waugh or something. Oh, shot by Stollers or saved by Stollers. Who would you rather on your team, Hughes or Kaprizov? I'm going to say Hughes. And the reason I'm going to say Hughes is because the Leafs in my entire lifetime have never, ever, ever had a defenseman who's even in the same galaxy as Quinn Hughes. They've had great wingers. They've had McGillney. They have Nylander. They had Marner. Like they've had some guys. Never, ever, ever have we gotten above like Dmitry Yuskevich. Brian McCabe had a run there. But he wasn't as mobile as Quinn Hughes. He was more of a battering ram with a gigantic shot. Anyway, we had Brian Leetch for like 20 games. That was cool. I really enjoyed that. Koki Doki says Hughes is better than McCarr right now. Spinorama says hockey is Minnesota's game. Yeah, we hear it's the state of hockey, but we don't have any cool nicknames like that in Toronto. We just have very quiet stadiums right now. Chiefs Meany says, hey, Adam, going up to Montreal to see the Bruins and Habs play Tuesday. Any recommendations for fun things to do while I'm there? Love from Halifax. You got to go to Schwartz's Deli just for the food because it's incredible. Any bar ever in downtown Montreal. I love Montreal. It's one of the best cities straight up in North America. It's just an incredible place. So much fun. And you know what's great about Montreal is you walk into those bars and you have a couple drinks and there's like a warmness, there's a coziness, there's a belonging. I don't know. Montreal is a very, very special city, so enjoy. Big shot by Faber on Stollers. Stollers is able to turn that around. Leafs are, you know what, guys? I don't know how many games we have less streaming the Leafs, like Steve and I. But I feel like once we figure that out, we could probably handicap how many goals we're going to get. Like, we should do an over-under of goals Leafs will score before the end of the season while Steve and Adam are live, and it ain't going to be that many. Like, let's say we got 10 games streaming left, right? Including tonight. Do the Leafs score 25 goals, which is less than 3 a game in that time? I don't think so. Like, they just got their first shot against the Wylde here. The Wylde are definitely faster, dominating play, you know? SLS 98, order of importance today, the USA Dominican baseball game, Adam Stream, Leafs game, I guess the Oscars. Oh, I forgot USA's playing the Dominican Republic. Yeah, you know what? I forgot the Oscars was on too. Yeah, that's right. The Oscars have already started. They started at 7. Who won what? Meme Empress, fun fact, next year the Leafs will be 3/5 of the way to going a full century without a cup. Oh, Hayden loves that. Hayden loves that stat. 3/5 of a century going without a cup. Oh my God. It is entirely possible. Like, sometimes, like, when I watch them, I'm like, I really actually could die before they win a cup. Like, that's really very real. Like, I don't think if you're an Avs fan, you're a Stars fan, you're a Wylde fan, you're a Lightning fan, you don't believe that. You're a Florida Panthers fan. First off, you already seen a cup, so you know it can happen. Second, you have faith that it could happen again. You're like, no, this will be good. Hayden's dad was born in 1968. Oh, and Hayden, by the way, is from Toronto. His dad is a Leaf fan, big Leaf fan. So that is rough. Man. Oh, my condolences to Hayden's dad. Hayden says his dad also blames himself. Well, Markiplier is also at the Oscars. Hey, good for him. He has that movie out. I don't know him that well, but I know that he's put out that independent movie and it's done quite well, and that's pretty cool. It's called Iron Lung? The Iron Lung? Yeah, good for him. Good for him. I think that's so cool. Like, what's cool about being, I guess technically we're YouTubers. I don't know if I would count myself. Like, I don't know how to quantify what we do really. But like those Oh, big save by Anthony Stollers. Oh, you had that debate on the stream last night? Oh, Captain Sauce was in the chat. Oh, that's cool. Okay. So yeah. I mean, yeah, I think we're YouTubers because we do it for profession. But it's very cool to see other YouTubers doing such cool shit. I mean, we have a lot of work to do, clearly. Colin Bradbury, is Clavicular also at the Oscars? He's Oscars maxing, actually. He's actually going to look at the statue of the Oscar for how to look max properly. Because the Oscar statue, I don't know if you've seen it up close, it is a Giga Chad. Like it's got serious Chad aura. Like what a jawline. I'm just saying. The Doug says you should award the Grippers. What, to the chat? Oh, I don't think so. The Grippers, first off, usually only come out in the playoffs. And, in the playoffs, I'm usually doing Western Conference streams. You guys know. Pretzel Hunt says, can Verstappen max the next race? I hope so. He didn't finish the race today. Hayden says, do you think the regulations could force him to quit F1? No, I think Red Bull's car design could force him to quit Red Bull, but I don't think he's going to quit F1 just yet. He keeps saying that, but I just, I don't believe that. Not yet, anyway. Not yet. Hayden says, what's more embarrassing, Red Bull's car or McLaren? I think a double not starting the race is pretty embarrassing, and I'm a big McLaren guy, but that sucked waking up to that this morning. I just did the podcast with Tim, by the way, guys. It'll be out after the stream. Spinorama says Wylde logo is S tier for sure. Does that mean it's good? Okay, yeah, I've always liked the Wylde jerseys, but I like their throwback jerseys more than I like. Like, I like these green ones because I love I love this color green. Isn't this color green great? It's like a little darker than British racing green that you see on race cars, but it's a very, it fits, the fact that there's the lakes and the forest nearby and everything. It fits Minnesota perfectly. But those throwback jerseys with the red in them, you guys know what I'm talking about. Those jerseys are sick. You know what? Like I've got a closet full of multiple teams jerseys. The Minnesota Wild. I would love to get myself a Quinn Hughes Minnesota Wild jersey. Oh, there's Hayden's jerseys right on the screen. You guys can see that. Yeah, sexy. That's a Coho jersey on the left? Oh my God. That's throwing it back. 8:22 left in the first period, by the way. Leafs spending a lot of time in their own zone, as you would expect, but shots are being limited. They got 2 shots for themselves, which, the Leafs shots are always going to be limited because they play that way. But to stop this Minnesota attack and only allow them to have 6 shots thus far in the period is an improvement on what we've been seeing so far. Well, I guess up until the Anaheim game where the Leafs were like, oh, yeah, we can play hockey. We don't have to quit on the coach this early. Yeah, so I mean, you're seeing them throw some hits and stuff out there, which is a good thing. But I look at the lack of, I guess, the commitment to defense because the team has next to no offense, and I go, yeah, good for you, good for you. Mike Schmidt says, okay, I know we're mixed on the engine regs in F1, but holy cow, this China sprint weekend was epic. Honestly, I think Tim and I talk about it a little bit on the show in a little bit more detail. But the regulations for Formula One this year, I think we give them time. We're not there yet. Now, of course, this is the Bally Bet SDPN. This is just the best. The Bally Bet SDPN party time. And I want you to let you know that Final 20 will happen in basically between the second and third periods. You can sign up right now with Bally Bet, which is a good thing. We love that. And make sure you do, because I think here's what I would be doing right now. I would be locking in my Stanley Cup pick right now. And the reason I would be doing that is because I think it's going to change a little bit over the next few weeks. We're going to see some teams come on. We're going to see some teams fall off. In the Eastern Conference, is it crazy to think you might want to lock in the Sabres? Are they that dominant? In the West, I'm not going to lie. I think you could make a case for me that the Minnesota Wild have it. Goaltending, all that stuff. I don't know. That's just me. Canadian Girl 8368 said, I appreciated the Cats last night. Hayden, you did the stream last night? Nice. I love that. Jackie says, kind of curious, Hayden. Growing up with a Leafs fan for a dad, how did you become a Wild fan? I grew up an Oiler fan for a dad, for my dad through the Gretzky era. Hence, I became an Oiler fan. So, Hayden, what's the story there? Leafs were terrible. He saw the pain that he's putting his dad through. Loved Parise, loved the logo. That's why. There you go. By the way, they just showed a thing on Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And he is not playing tonight, which, listen, is it bad anymore? Are we worried about it? I'm not. John Lee said, Hayden, your dad gave you a choice? What the hell? He cheers for Minnesota with Hayden now. That's incredible. Hang on. So I'm sorry, I was just looking up some information there. Here's what I want to know. I don't think Craig Berube is going to be back. I think that's pretty fair, right? Everybody kind of assumes that. How quickly is he picked up, and who picks him up? Because you got to think about the type of team Craig. There's already speculation in the market right now that he will get hired. Like, it will happen. So when he gets hired, who is it for? Who's he playing? Who's he coaching for? And I got to think about teams that are veteran, that are maybe a bit slower. Like a team that would make a lot of sense to me if they weren't sort of rebuilding, and maybe they're not because I guess technically is I think Nashville would make a lot of sense there. You know what I mean? That feels like a Craig Berube team. I'm trying to think on the Eastern. Oh, Jackie says I think LA. Trevor says maybe New Jersey. That's interesting. Although I don't think Keefe goes, right? Yeah, LA Kings, New Jersey, Colorado. Phoebe says that sounds like a Winnipeg head coach. It kind of does. Like there are options, right? People are like, oh, who would hire this guy? I'm like, oh no. People would hire this guy absolutely. Calgary's an interesting one because I don't think here's what I'm going to say not Calgary because it's a bunch of young players. I don't think Craig's that kind of a coach, right? I don't think it's going to be Calgary. Chiefs Meanie says, speaking of Nashville, do you think Trotz tries to get back into coaching after he steps down as GM? No. I think he's really and fully retired. By the way, Wylde just had their best opportunity of the period. They hadn't had a shot in 3 or 4 minutes, which is impressive by bad Leaf standards. But they just flipped the puck over Anthony Stoller's head, and it went across the crease, and here comes Quinn Hughes. Controls the play instantly. Do you see what Quinn Hughes just did there? He held. Everybody, he gains the zone and he just holds it. And his mobility, he's so fast that nobody's going to challenge him with the puck. And so he gains it, lets the 4 guys get in. And obviously the play was broken up a little bit later by the Leafs. But he is so unbelievable at zone entries and setups. It's crazy. And that's why earlier in the game when Hayden asked me, hey, what would you rather have, a Kaprizov or a Quinn Hughes? Quinn Hughes all day. You need that guy. And the Minnesota Wild have had really good defensemen for a long time. So it's not as though, Quinn's just the latest, greatest. But the Leafs have just never had, I don't even think the Leafs have a Jared Spurgeon. No chance. Boldy or Faber? Oh, man. I'm still going Faber. I'm going Faber. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, my God. How did Zuccarello not put that in? Kaprizov set him up perfectly, and I think Zuccarello just fanned on it. But it was beautiful. He had Stoller's beat. Stoller's knew it. You could see it in his body language, and it didn't happen. Zuccarello. Oh, Kaprizov just misses the net, too. Holy. So Kaprizov to Zuccarello. Zuccarello to Kaprizov. Neither hits the net, and so it is still 0-0. Wild are pouring it on here with 4:20 left in the first period. Back out to Kaprizov at the point. He's going to leave it for Middleton. Middleton makes a great move around Nick Robertson. Carlo catches him in the corner. Back out to the point at Zuccarello. Shot. That puck goes through traffic, and Stollers did not know where it was, but it thankfully missed the net because otherwise that might have snuck in. Boldy with a shot. Zuccarello collects. Shots are 8-2 now for the Minnesota Wild as they pour it on late in this period. 3:51 left in the first. Zuccarello is going to take a shot. Tried to find Hartman. Wasn't able to. And out the puck goes. I was reading some articles this morning about, the situation the Leafs find themselves in because they've traded of the 4 centers they had 3 weeks ago. They traded 2 of them. And lost the other one, Austin Matthews, to injury. Oh, we got a steal here by Jacob Quillen. He's going to get it out front. Shot. Oh, and what a save. What a save. Calle Jarnkrok is absolutely robbed by Wallstead. Absolute highway robbery on a great turnover created by the forecheck of Jacob Quillen. He uses his speed, grabs the puck, gets it to Jarnkrok, but the glove is there. The Great Wall of St. Paul, as Hayden says, absolutely dynamite. And that's why I think when you look at this Wild team, you go, damn, even Nathan McKinnon's not scoring that goal. That's a goal. That goalie had it. They have great goaltending in this team. Bat flips and birdie putts. I know opinions are split on the Leafs forfeiting their first period this year or landing in the top 5. I see a guy like Hughes tonight, and I can't help but wonder how good Veerhoff would look in blue and white. Well, here's the thing you got to remember about, the Leafs and this particular pick. And I happen to be on the side of get as many good players in the door as you can while Austin Matthews is still here, right? Makes a ton of sense. If you can get a McKenna or a Veerhoff is interesting because he's a defenseman and they don't have a lot of depth at that position. That'd be great. Here's the problem, though. Guys like that need years. It takes seasoning. Like, I'm going to let me just look up Quinn Hughes' stats. Quinn Hughes. Let's look at his first couple of years in Vancouver. He was a great player. He had 3 points in his first 5 games. Yeah, 53 and 68. It's not a bad start. It's actually a damn good start. And you look at Cale Makar's early numbers. Is Veerhoff at that level? Is that fair to ask of him? Because, you got to get Austin Matthews sort of started, right? So anyway, let me give you this. Join Bally Bet with the code Go to the Net. Download the Bally Bet app and register with the promo code Go to the Net. Make your first deposit, choose a bet, and submit a wager of at least $10. If your bet wins, you'll get a bonus based on the odds of your wager. So if they are greater than or equal to minus 500 to less than plus 300, you receive a $50 bonus bet. Odds greater than or equal to plus 300 to plus 900, receive $200 in bonus bets. Odds greater than or equal to plus 900, receive $400 in bonus bets. That's pretty sweet. So join Bally Bet today. Link is in the description below. Offer is void in Canada. If you're in Ontario, simply click the link in the description below. Just a heads up on that. Now, I think with Veerhoff, you're looking at a scenario where this guy is going to need time. Let me look up Cale Makar's original numbers as the Morgan Riley is kind of fighting with former teammate Nick Foligno. Cale Maker. All right, let me see. Cale Makar, first season, 50 points in 57 games. Again, are these reasonable things to expect from a young defenseman who has next to no support on that blue line? Like, you have to think Riley's going to be gone, very likely, right? Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Chris Tanev, Jake McCabe. Yeah, it's not a bad veteran group to put them into. I don't know. You got to get as many great players in the lineup as possible. Freak says the Wall of St. Paul. Bat flips and birdie putts. I think it's definitely an upgrade over what we're working with now. LOL. That's true. I think my thing is that, like, can they get this done in the Matthews era? Because he's going to be ready for training camp, which is great. It looks like anyway. They're going to have to retool very quickly here. They're going to have to make some really intelligent moves. Sometimes you're all out of misses here. You got to hit on basically everything. So I'm of the opinion that draft this year, let the cards fall where they may. Because if you don't draft this year, you got a first round pick next year, but it ain't yours. And then you don't worry about 2028. That's 2028's problem. You can find another first round pick in that time. It won't be yours, but you can find one. Hayden says, is someone asked in the chat if I'm afraid of Bill Guerin going after Team America captain Austin Matthews? Am I worried about it? No. I think from everything that I've been told, Austin wants to stay here and win here. And it would be awfully weird if after 9 straight years in the playoffs and him never really having a dominant playoff series, let's be honest about that. He never has had the Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl type playoff run. Never. He's had great games. He's had great pieces of series, but never the entire series where you could definitively say Austin Matthews was the greatest player in that series, and it's not even up for debate. I personally think it's time for him to show that, but it's also time for him to show some loyalty, and I think he will. This team gave him 9 chances in the first 9 years of his career to win the Stanley Cup. This year is the first year they're not. Get him on board with the plan, actually have a plan, and actually execute it, unlike whatever Brad was doing this year. Just sitting back and making no moves and doing nothing. I think that's what you have to do. Delta Go Vista, Minnesota Wild, fun fact, none of their alumni are in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Is Suter not? Whoa. We have no Minnesota Wild. Oh, here we go. Oh, my goodness. Zuccarello got sort of robbed, I think, by the toe of Anthony Stolarz. Stolarz did not know where the puck was, and it went right to Zuccarello at the side of the net. I think Zuccarello's like, are you serious, man? Should Gaborik be a Hall of Famer? I think so. It's Hartman. It wasn't Zuccarello. 38 and 36. They don't make it easy. Chiefs meeting says Leo Carlson scores 2-0 Anaheim. That's good for me. It's good for my team, my fantasy team. The Doug said Sundin wanted to stay here until he didn't. Fun fact about Matt Sundin, he wanted to stay here until the Leafs publicly said, we'd like to trade him. That's why he was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't stay here. And even then, he didn't agree to be traded. He just retired for half a season and then played the weird half season with the Canucks, which was just so unfortunate. Spinorama says, we don't like Suter anymore. I think, no, I know. Listen, be honest with you, not exactly the most well-liked person in hockey, generally. But I think probably a Hall of Famer. Remember, it's not the Hockey Hall of, do I like this person? Right? Ryan Suter. 1,500 games, 696 points. Yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Is he better than Shea Weber? I don't think so. But pretty damn good player, man. He was amazing at his peak. He really was. Burps McGurps, would you trade Matthews if it meant you'd win the lottery this year? I think that would be dependent on what the return is, right? Is that the exact same answer Steve gave? Verbatim? Yeah, you got to, what's the return? If the return is Zeev Buium, Liam Ogren, and who was the other guy? Marco Rossi. No, I'd rather have Matthews. You got to remember, Auston Matthews is the best player that's ever played for the Leafs. So, Quinn Hughes is not the best player that's ever played for the Canucks. Pavel Bure is. That would be, if you're trading that guy, you better be sure about the return. And I don't know who's in a position to take on a guy like Auston Matthews and also give up the prospects that you need. Like the Wild were in a very unique position, right? They're very, very unique position. So you'd need, if you were going to get Veerhoff or you were going to get Gavin McKenna, great. You're going to need guys with them. And who are those guys? And listen, I'm interested in draft picks and stuff, but more than that, you want to get players that are somewhat NHL ready, because otherwise you're bottoming out for 5 years, kind of like the Ducks did, like Chicago has. And it works. It's working for the Ducks right now, but it doesn't always work. You saw it with Buffalo. How many years were they rebuilding? How many times did they strip it back? Oh, pain. It took them 14 years to get here. Freak 811 says Suter, Parise, Koivu, Gaborik, Dubnyk all should have a chance. I'm not sure about Devin Dubnyk. Mikko Koivu, I can get behind. Devin Dubnyk, 253 wins, 914 career save percentage. Also a very nice guy. He's been on the SDP a couple of times. I like him. And he's very tall. You're very right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the comparables, to be honest with you. People are saying Koivu, no way, Hayden. I think that's because a lot of people didn't watch Mikko Koivu play. He was a very, very good player. Zerma says, if one of the Foligno brothers takes out Tavares, will Nylander again just skate by and not care? Okay, can we just call this what it is? It's been about a week. I can finally say this. The reason that nobody jumped in to save Austin is because it was Radko Gudas. He's a crazy person. It was Radko Gudas. I'd like to take all my teeth with me on my summer vacation, please. That's what it is. They saw it was Radko Gudas, and they're like, oh, we're going to the power play. I'd rather not. And that's a big problem. And if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, does that not, like, you know what? It kills me to say this because I like this person so much. He's such a good person. But you had a conversation with Morgan Riley at the end of last year and said, Morgan, this isn't good enough. And from all accounts, he was very emotional. He put in a crazy summer at the gym. He came into camp in incredible shape, and they were thrilled with him, and he's played terribly. He has. He just has not had a good year. Maybe Berube's system isn't for him. Maybe wherever he goes next, he's going to play great. It just might be time, right? But you said, hey, man, we're going to let you stay here, but you got to give us everything. And Matthews is lying on the ice like that, and you do nothing? You could tell me you thought it was a trip. You could. Sorry. It's because it was Radko Gudas and you didn't want to get involved. That's what it was. Willie, too. And Willie's no tough guy. We get that. And I know they both, after the game, gave you the PR response, which is, well, we didn't know how bad it was. It doesn't matter how bad it was. And I think, when Freech goes on Hockey Night in Canada like he did last night and said this will have an effect on who's with the team next year, this is who he's talking about. They're not like, man, watch out, Brandon Carlo. They're coming for you. At least Easton Cowan tried to make up for it in the net following period and fought Jackson Lacombe. And he's a kid. Listen, don't be surprised. Like Morgan Riley, I expect to get traded. Don't be surprised when you start hearing Nylander's name out there. That's the guy. We talk about Nyes. That's a guy where I'm like, that could happen. That for sure could happen. Now, they got to bring back younger pieces that can skate with Austin, something. You got to bring something back for that. But do not be surprised if you hear the Leafs have tested the market. Don't be surprised. Rennie says, I would have speared him with Roman Reigns. Fines be damned. Honestly, people always give Max Domi shit for some of the dumb shit that he does. And Max Domi does some dumb shit, guys. He does. But do you really think Max would have let that happen? Max would have fought him. Max has fought Radko Gudas. Absolutely would have happened. Freak 811 Hartman would have either Foligno would have. Also, neither Foligno would have done that to Matthews. That's true. And last one before we go to break here. SLS 98, Adam, what's one non-Leafs jersey you want from a current team? I want a Sabres goat head jersey or a Blackhawks 100th anniversary one. I'm going to come back to that question. I have to think about that. But Hayden, what clip are we playing here? Oh, Oilers goaltending and what they should do with Tristan Jarry. So we're going to play that, and we're going to come back at the beginning of the second period.
Listen, you figure out Jarry in the offseason, you run Ingram Pickard going forward. Enough of this. Enough. Holy cow. You're going to ruin this whole season by playing that guy. 855?
Yeah, he's unplayable.
That's unplayable. So think of how bad Levi Merilainen was for the Sens. Remember that? And he's getting called out by, I think was it Thomas Chabot or no, Jake Sanderson.
Mm-hmm.
He's worse. He's statistically kind of significantly worse than Levi Merilainen was for the Sens.
And they gave up a goaltender who went to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals and was expiring this offseason to take on the money of Tristan Jarry for the next few years. Like that's the decision they made.
Trading Stuart Skinner, I totally understand. They needed to try something. Boy, howdy, that was not the thing.
Jarry was on waivers last year.
If we're gonna
passed on him,
we weren't going to start here. But let me throw some stats at you that I dug up on Tristan Jarry, and somebody online made it even better. I think it was Captain Jack. But I just looked up in the last 10 games, how many goals has Jarry given up?
How many games?
10. Captain Jack, I think, had this one, but I did have this. I did this myself.
45.
It's 41.
That's crazy.
In how many of those games, Jesse and Steve, in the last 10 games, has Jarry given up less than 2? So a goal or 0?
1.
I'll say 1 as well.
1.
Oh, there you go.
Gee.
8, 26 save percentage.
A what?
826 save percentage.
So I said 855. That's since he's been traded there.
Yeah, this
So
is just the last 10 games.
recently, he's actually been so much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to play Pickard.
And
It's
Bob
got to be
Stauffer's talking about how they're fighting at practice. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about like
Ingram Pickard.
Yeah.
No, you can't play this person.
No, and you're probably going to have to buy him out. Good luck.
The buyout, I don't think makes too much sense. Like, they get screwed on it as well. Let me just triple check.
Man, Stan Bowman is actually bad. Like,
outside
I got to be honest. He's not good at this.
Outside of winning the Stanley Cup, he has to like resign. Like, okay, you can't bring that suggestion to ownership. You can't.
Nope.
Hey, I'm going to buy out Jari. No, you simply have to resign.
Yeah, so this is the buyout situation because he makes $5.375 million. That's the cap hit for the next 2 seasons. And the buyout is 4.1 or 4.7 and then
Oh my
4.2.
God.
So you might as well pay the $1 million to have the goaltender.
Yeah.
You know, or just send him down to the minors as opposed to like we're saving $1 million. It doesn't really help you.
It's Jack Campbell extended.
Yeah, it's bad. It's a situation that you put yourself into. It's an unforced error.
At what
that you
point
made.
do you just tell the player stay home?
Yeah, eventually we got to send you down to Bakersfield.
No, like
No, not even that.
I don't want you playing with our developmental
No,
system.
I don't-
LTIR.
Like I'm not even joking.
I think you go to Bakersfield.
You Lou Lamoriello it. You LTIR it. Say you're not playing this season. Declare yourself out the next 2 years. Whatever Lou did to get Lupul and Robida and all these guys to do that, do that. Do that.
Man.
Kyle
That's
Dubas.
it's a shame, man.
Incredible work by Kyle Dubas.
Yeah.
It's the most successful pump and dump I've ever seen.
Since Dion Phaneuf.
No.
That was a pump and dump. And that was
but
on
this
purpose.
this is so much more cut and dry. Like,
Dion Phaneuf had like 5 years left on his deal at $7 million.
yeah, but like at least the Sens like got a little out of it. He wasn't a terrible Sen. Like they went to the conference final.
Yeah.
You know, and also it wasn't as
Watch
cut
the
and
Oilers
dry.
will too with Jari. It'll be hilarious. He'll have an 826 the whole way and they'll still win.
Right. Like it wasn't as cut and dry as he was like 9-3-1 or something was his record in Pittsburgh with a over 900 save percentage. Got traded, turned into a pumpkin like immediately.
Mhm.
Immediately. Ha! Joking. He sucks. Like Kyle Dubas, if I remember correctly, when he was GM of the Leafs, made a bunch of trades with Stan Bowman. And like that was one of the things we sort of talked about.
Well, he was more Kyle Davidson, was he not?
It might have been Davidson. I thought it was Bowman. Maybe it was Davidson.
Fleury deal to Toronto was a Davidson deal.
Like I guess what I'm getting at is like if you're Stan Bowman, you can't make a trade with that person ever again. Like they fucked you. They cost you your job.
There is a good video out there if somebody was willing to do it.
Oh,
Uh,
he means me. Okay.
Since you have the trade tree, stuff, but I could do it on Monday if I did a little research.
Mhm.
Just recapping Stan Bowman's last 10 or 15 consequential trades dating back to the Blackhawks, and I would guarantee you it does not paint a pretty picture.
I mean, how about letting two good players who would have helped you potentially win a Stanley Cup last year get offer sheeted?
That's Jeff Jackson.
Ah, you're right.
Stan didn't take over until mid-August, remember? And now
Was
they
that Jeff
weren't.
Jackson? Huh?
They weren't. To be fair to Stan and to Jeff, they're both sort of owning this because Stan had literally just taken over, but Jeff Jackson let it get to August because they were trying to work out an extension with Holloway at very least in January and kept lowballing him. And Broberg really wasn't a regular feature in the lineup until the playoffs, and especially in the Stanley Cup final, where they were finally scratching Ceci for Broberg.
I was surprised by the amount of money he got.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
he wasn't a $4 million player when he
that's
signed that.
and now he is.
Yeah.
now he's more
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that Broberg took a while to develop. I think Oilers scouts and development staff were a little tired of him because they didn't think he panned out as quickly as he should have. All they would have had to do, honestly, and here's the thing: it was an RFA offer. All Edmonton would have had to do was manage their cap properly and just match it.
Yeah. Which was too much to ask.
Yeah. And that summer they also lost Ceci, depth defenseman. And
And now you have a goalie you can't buy out.
yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a rough look. It's
Man.
a rough look. So, That is the Edmonton Oilers picture. 7-2 loss. I don't know. Do we want to bring up Connor McDavid fighting? Do we want to?
I'd rather do a quick thing on Evan Bouchard. Just a
what do you got?
brief comment on
Corner?
Evan.
Is it
Bouchard's-
Is it Evan Bouchard corner?
I guess.
Is it
you
a
have to
complimentary
define it.
Evan Bouchard?
No,
corner?
it's typical Evan Bouchard corner.
Okay, regular season corner is not complimentary.
No, but this is the reason that I know there's Norris buzz out of Edmonton for Bouchard, but you have to take into account that yes, he is one of the best offensive defensemen that we have in this league.
No question.
You can't question that. His record in the playoffs, Steve brings it up all the time. The amount of points per game he's had in the playoffs as a defenseman is all time.
It's crazy.
But the defensive side of the game is a big part about being a defenseman.
Oh.
And you have to be excellent at both ends. And little things like this, like last night in Dallas on the third goal that was scored, I believe it's Jason Robertson who's going to make this play, are the little things you see where it's like, Evan, we can't have this happen in the moment. So first shot of the game for Dallas goes in last night, and they score on that. So already down
Also,
1-0.
shots are 9-2.
Shots are 9-2 at this moment.
Yeah.
Then there's a turnover where they get a 2-on-1. Evan Bouchard, it's not his fault. He just got on, and he has to deal with this 2-on-1. Dallas goes down. They score on that 2-on-1.
Yeah.
So you're already down 2-0. It's 5 minutes left in the first period. Shots are 9-2, as Steve mentions. And then this happens. The puck is in the Edmonton offensive zone. They're cycling it around the back, and the puck goes up to the top to Evan Bouchard. So he's going to get this pass. Typical play, right?
Yep.
He's just defenseman gets the puck at the top. But Evan Bouchard, puck's on his stick here, does not make a strong play on the puck.
What should he do here, Jesse? What can he do? What are his options?
It's read very well by the Stars.
The answer is literally anything but what he does. Because what he does here is not make a quick decision, and that allows the Dallas Stars player to simply take the puck off of his stick.
And goodbye.
Man,
And goodbye.
That is shades of Tyson Barrie. The only difference is Tyson Barrie would have fired it off the Dallas player's knee.
It reminds me of being at Shinny, where you can just go up to guys and kind of just poke the puck away.
Yeah,
Because
give me that.
we're all not very skilled. So you kind of just take the puck, and Evan Bouchard just gets the puck just taken
It's a good read.
off of his stick. Oh, yeah. No, you have to make a great play at this level to make plays like this. 100%.
He has McDavid. It might have got picked off, but even if it did, it wouldn't have resulted in
Who
a
passed to
breakaway.
him?
So who got Evan
Who got
Bouchard
it
the
to
puck?
Who passed him the puck?
Was that Hyman behind
Is that
the net?
Hyman?
Yeah.
So he
yeah.
has Hyman and McDavid open.
Yeah, I'm just asking him, move the puck.
He could, he could even cross.
It's on your stick here. You have space between you and the attacking player that's coming at you. You got to make a decision. You can't let him just simply take the puck off of your stick. And that leads directly to a 2-on-1 the other way. Darnell Nurse is going to stop that.
Yeah.
That's
the guy you want.
That's what he does so well. No, he doesn't. Evan Bouchard tries to get back. Eventually, he gives up. And you'll see straight knees Bouchard just not make a play.
Great.
And Dallas shoots it, and they score.
Yeah.
And that, to me, was the end of the game. It was 3-0, and Edmonton's cooked. Game's over.
And Evan said to McDavid, "You're welcome."
I mean, at the end of the day, okay, he made a mistake. Make a save.
Oh, my God.
Make a save.
That's the most
Holy
important thing
cow.
in the conversation is they don't have goaltending.
Yeah.
Make a save. They do.
His name's Connor Ingram.
Connor Ingram and
Pickard.
Calvin Pickard couldn't possibly be worse. Couldn't possibly.
I now understand why Calvin Pickard's agent was so pissed. Remember, he went on that podcast. He's like, Calvin's done nothing but
My
perform
client
here."
lost a job to Tristan Jarry.
Yeah.
Get out of my face.
Sorry, and that was Jason Robertson, unassisted, who made that wonderful play. If you watch the little dots here,
Oh, it was assisted.
assisted by Bouchard.
Sorry, is that gold medalist?
There's Jason Robertson, not gold medalist, making that beautiful play all by himself, taking on all of Edmonton to score that goal.
They probably would have gold medaled harder, I think, had he been in there.
Too gold, too furious.
Yeah, I still think they made a mistake, even with the gold medal.
All right, back Aru. That first period, it wasn't so bad until it was bad. And it's funny watching Justin Bourne run through some of the tape. The one thing I think Justin Bourne is so underrated at as a sportscaster, and this is why I think he should be on Hockey Night in Canada, is he's so good at running tape. I mean, this guy was a video coach for the Marlies. He played in the ECHL. He played in the AHL. His dad was obviously a legend with the Islanders. All-around good dude as well. And he was just talking about and showing like footage of, Philip Myers crossing the red line. Quillen's right there at center, ready for a pass, and they're firing it into the zone anyway. Like they're making so many bad plays. Justin Bourne is he's just excellent. Just perfectly showed you why the Leafs stink, why they're so bad. He showed you in 3 plays. I was like, oh, that's good broadcasting, and man, that's depressing. Anyway, so the Leafs had, I think, 2 shots that period. Does that over-under that now become 6.5 for the entire game? I'm just wondering. Sherry Radway says the Sens won 7-4 over the Sharks. Good for the Sens. Sens. I heard there was some we want playoffs chance going on with the Ottawa Senators. And you know what? They should. Especially if, let me have a look at the standings now. Let's look at these standings. Ooh, they're only 3 points out. You know what? We're going to talk about this tomorrow, and Detroit fans are going to hate this. But guys, the Red Wings are falling, and they're falling fast. And listen, I don't want to say that I said the Red Wings stunk before the season starts. Yeah, I do, actually. I did say that. And I have owned the fact that the Red Wings have been near the top of the division most of the season. But if they fall out in these last few weeks, I know Larkin's out. I know they got a couple other injuries. If they fall out and they miss by like a point or 2 again, like they did in, I think, 2023-24, the heartbreak and the storylines are going to be wild. Absolutely wild. Senators have won 2. They are 7-1-2 in their last 10, which is pretty sick. You know what? I'm rooting for the Senators because it'll mean that both Boston and Detroit are in trouble. And, as much as, what would be fun too? Let's get the Columbus Blue Jackets in there. Get Columbus, get Ottawa in there. Let's have Boston miss. Maybe Detroit. I'm one of those people that believes that the NHL is legitimately a better place when Detroit is good at hockey. I also believe that about the Montreal Canadiens. I think the NHL is in a better place when the Montreal Canadiens are a very good hockey team. There are just certain teams in certain leagues where you kind of have to have them be good. And those 2 are 2 of the teams in the NHL. I think you want them to be good. Blackhawks the same. They're just not good right now. I don't know if the league is better if the Leafs are good. I don't know if we fall into that category. Bobcat, hey, can we still complain about the Gudis hit? Absolutely, you can complain about the Gudis hit. It's not, what's interesting is the GM meetings are next week. And for Judd Moldaver, who is Connor McDavid's agent, to make the statement that he did last week, which we will talk about on the podcast tomorrow, I think it's going to be a topic of conversation at the GM meetings. Will they do anything? Maybe not. But this is the most, McDavid has talked about it. Several other, Kiefer Sherwood has talked about it, both Moldaver clients. I kind of wonder if Peros might actually be in some trouble here. Oh, here comes Michelli. Shoots. Wallstead able to make that save. I kind of wonder if he might be a little bit actually under the gun here. Connor McDavid, by the way, prefaced his comment today by saying, listen, I know it's a hard job. And I'll say this on the podcast tomorrow, but this is me saying what I'm going to say. No, it isn't. It's actually not that hard. It's really not that hard. It's so intensely not hard. You know what it is? What they have with player safety in terms of suspensions and fines is essentially what we do in the public. It's like a podcast, right? You're sitting in a room with a bunch of people. You're looking at game footage and you're debating what the punishment should be. I don't think that's a hard job. I think that's actually a sick job. And by the way, they all make more than we do. All of them. They all make hundreds of thousands and in some case, millions of dollars. That's not a hard job. Please miss me with the hard job. Not hard. Oh, Morgan Riley scores. Wow. Wow. Morgan Riley puts it home. The Leafs absolutely do not deserve to be up in this game, but they did it. They did it. Not a hard job is what I'm saying. So Nylander and Michelli digging in the corner. They obviously, you guys are right in the chat. You're saying they've found some chemistry. Look at that Michelli pass. Beautiful. Beautiful pass. Excellent pass. Pretzel Hunt says hard, like when someone is always going to have complaints that sound world ending. Somebody just said, Jello just said, Morgan Riley is staying. Sorry, they're not trading him now. Not after that goal. Well, yeah, and then somebody else said, Josh Halliburton. They have the lead, and then they don't have the lead. That will probably be what happens. Has Bobby okay, so Hayden's like, how about Seattle sniper Bobby McMahon? Well, he got 2 goals last night, didn't he? Got 2. So Lawton, McMahon, and Waugh all scored in their first game with their new team. That's crazy. That's crazy. It might be the system, Hayden. Hayden's like, I wonder if it's the system. Yeah, I think it's a little the system. You know what? The better that Connor Dewar's looking good. The better the Leafs can play, the more up these trade value. Listen, get Morgan Riley as many cookies as you can get him. Make it happen. Ian Ball said it's the fans' fault. You know what? It's the fans' fault that player safety have such a hard job. They do not have a hard job. That is not a hard job. I also think it's interesting that they handed out a 5-game suspension when the head of player safety played just shy of 400 games with the Ducks, won a cup with them, and hired one of his buddies who just happens to be the greatest Anaheim Duck of all time. Look it up. You know what I think? It's Solani Erasure. Okay, so maybe the second greatest. But I would say Getzlav, for my money. Oh, we got another goal. The Leafs have scored again. What is happening? Troy Stetcher floats one in. Good for Troy Stetcher. Good for you, Troy. Troy! You guys have seen High School Musical, right? Troy! Just standing up in the crowd. Anyway, look at this shot. And Bo Grew and Dakota Joshua in front of the net. I think it hits Bo. Let's see. Come on, Sportsnet. Slow it down. I can't see. They didn't do that. Hey, sorry about your face, says Panthers fan here. Department of Player Safety always seem fine to me. Shrug. Maybe it's the rest of the league that's the problem. That is funny. That's a very funny super chat. I appreciated that. Please come back and give us more. That's a good joke. Actually funny. Freak 811 says, I was going to say the NHLPA might have something to say, but they won't because they're toothless. Well, no, the NHLPA does not want its own players to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in suspension. They are always going to stick up for the guy that's suspended. The guy that's injured, he's still getting paid. So the PA will always stick up for the player not getting paid. That's their job. That's their mandate. I don't even blame them for that. But that's what it is. Girthy Bettman, actually the greatest Duck of all time is Evgeny Dadonov. Hell yeah. Big winner. Big Daddy Dadonov. And Alex, 9269, nice, dropping 10 SDPN memberships. Let's go. Let's go. And they did give the goal to Troy Stetcher. It's his 4th of the year, but let me just say this. I still think it was Bo Grew. They're going to look at that. I think it was Bo Grew. It looked like Bo Grew, didn't it? Am I crazy? So it's nice. Oh, out front. Oh, my goodness. Great play. Matthew Nice created a turnover. Easton Cowan had a great opportunity to make it 3-0. Can you flippin' imagine? against Max Domi, Easton Cowan, and Matthew Nyes, the Leafs' second line. I'm sure Minnesota's quaking in its boots. McCabe gives the puck away in the neutral zone. In come the Wild. Boldy in on McCabe. Boldy comes up with the puck. Boldy, oh no, we got a giveaway here. And Boldy and Easton Cowan, but oh man, Wallstead comes out to play it. Bummer, dude. That would have been fun. Hey, the Leafs are, they're entertaining. At least they're entertaining. Like, if you're going to suck, be entertaining. They're entertaining. Oh, Cowan knocked a puck out or a stick out of one of the Wild players' hands. And Benoit just, that was Eriksson Ek, by the way. Benoit just threw that into the crowd. One thing that the Leafs are absolutely going to need to do is they're going to have to upgrade their defense. Look at that pass from Nyes. That was crazy. And I think it was just kind of broken up at the last second there. Crazy pass by Nyes. The Iron Vibe says, don't you think the PA should stick up for the injured player? Matthews missing the playoffs or McDavid or any superstar is worse for the game. Yes, it's a tricky spot for the PA to be in. Listen, I don't make the rules, but there is under no circumstance, zero circumstances, where the PA is going to advocate for a longer suspension of one of its players. It goes against their mandate. They can't do that. So they'll just publicly say nothing. Richard Triafino says, hey, if the Rangers could beat the Wild, why can't the Leafs? When did that happen? Did the Rangers beat the Wild recently, Hayden? Oh, last night. Oh, this could be a rough weekend for you, my friend. Freak811 says, it's more like the Wild don't care. They are 6 back from Dallas who just won't flip and lose. I know, that's frustrating, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. It's going to be Minnesota, Dallas in the first. And Dallas is going to have home ice advantage. And it's not going to matter because the Wild are going to beat them anyway. Right, Hayden? High five. Hayden is comparing it to like the Leafs knowing when they were going to play Boston in like November and December. Remember those years? Those were good years. They were kind of bad years, but they were good years. The Leafs catching up with Minnesota in shots, by the way. Shots are now 11-11. And it's always something you pay attention to when both teams run a back-to-back. Who's going to fall off the wagon first? Here comes Ryan Hartman. In, shot. Stolarz doesn't know where it is, but he did get a piece of it. Puck skirts out, past and back to the Wild, who reload, throw it in. Hartman on Riley. He's able to push Riley off the puck, trying to create something up front. Back to Quinn Hughes, over to Faber. Faber with the shot in! And that is a good save by Anthony Stolarz. Faber was looking for a tip there, just couldn't find one. Josh Halliburton says, no penalties yet somehow. That's true. Perfect game for both teams. There hasn't been a lot of like chippiness. Hartman put that off the post, I think. I didn't hear that, but Hartman has 1 goal in his last 17 games as well. That's your top line center. Going to have to do a little better than that. Project Sheepzoid. Adam, does Austin ever wear a Leaf jersey again? Tell the truth. Yeah. Next season. I would be shocked. Genuinely shocked if Austin asked out, because they're sure as hell not trading him. It would be very weird if he asked out. Like, first sign of trouble, you're just going to walk on the franchise? I don't see that. Joshua. Into Grew. 14:43 left to go in the second period. Robertson gets the puck, and he immediately loses it, and it's to the wrong people. Like Quinn Hughes, who has it right now, who's going to shoot. And that gets tipped up and into the crowd. A little spicy there. Pretzel Hunt says first sign of trouble. Yes, the first sign of trouble being they missed the playoffs for the first time his entire career. 10 years, and he's going to miss 1 playoff. You don't just bolt when that happens after a city's given you as much as the city's given him. Organizations paid him as much as they've paid him. Like, yeah, sorry. I don't believe that. Not for a second. And yes, Matthews is the captain next year. hopefully with a supporting cast that actually will stick up for him when someone takes a run. Hayden says, strictly speaking, in terms of years in playoffs, Matthews has had more opportunities than McDavid. He's right. Freak 811, Hartman isn't out there to score. He's out there to make sure nobody takes liberties with Zuccarello or Kaprizov. That's true. He's out there to be himself, which is a crazy person. Here's what I don't understand. Michael Pezzetta is out tonight for the Leafs, and Calle Jarnkrok is in. And again, I've been pro Calle Jarnkrok most of his time here. People have been really shitty about him. But what are we doing? The guy's a free agent at the end of the year. Put Pezzetta in the lineup and let him just run around. Match him up against Ryan Hartman. Have some fun. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Anyway, Philip Myers with the puck behind the Leafs net. 13:20 left in the second. Myers tries to make a play there and then just fires it off Max Domi's friggin' knee. Oh, Myers is so frustrating to watch. Oh, my God. I'd almost forgotten. What kind of pass is he trying to make there? He literally just bombs it, and Max Domi's like, ow, man. What the hell? Project Sheepzoid, Adam, do you think the Leafs make the playoffs next year? I haven't the foggiest. Here's what I do know. If there isn't significant change for the better this offseason, then at trade deadline next year, we're having the conversation about how long Austin will be here. Because I think we can all see it. The fact is, they don't have the prospects in the system coming up to support, the next generation. There's not, free agency wise, there's not a ton to get. McCabe with a shot that goes off the blocker of Wallstead. I guess Zuccarello's available. Yeah. Mason Marchment's available. Darren Radish is available. Oh, Boldy with a shot. 2-on-1 with Eriksson Ek, and Carlo took Eriksson Ek out of the play. And here comes William Nylander. He's got Faber 1-on-1. Nylander driving the net. He waits. And he doesn't get a shot off because Wallstead had him covered the whole time. Nobody in front of the net soon enough. Oh, giveaway shot by Grew. And Bo Grew rips his second goal in 3 games. Almost identical to his goal against the Anaheim Ducks. What an incredible turn of events. The Leafs are up 3-0. And I don't think either team wants this. I think the Wild want to win, and the Leafs ideally probably want to put themselves in lottery contention territory. But here we are. Wow. And that play all starts because William Nylander creates a great offensive opportunity. Grew is able to grab. He's able to steal the moon. Actually, he's just able to grab an errant pass and shoot it top cheddar. Just a laser beam. Bo Grew. They got some found money here. I'm part of the Grew crew. So they did give Stetcher's goal to Bo Grew. So he has 3 goals in 3 games since being called up, 2 tonight. I told you it was a Bo Grew goal. I didn't know that they'd given it to they'd taken it from Stetcher and given it to Grew. But how about that? Bo Grew. The next Austin Matthews? That should be Steve Zalafar tonight. Is he the next Austin? And they have those crazy thumbnails like YouTubers like. That's what it should be. John Hines is going to kill someone according to Aiden. Yeah, well, as he should. Yeah. Well, listen, it's Sunday night. I'm happy you guys are all here. I don't believe Hayden, are we doing another stream this week? I think we are. Not with you. Not with you. Well, listen, it's a Bally Bet Sunday night, okay? And we want you to join Bally Bet with the promo code Go to the Net. Download the Bally Bet app, register with promo code Go to the Net. Make sure you put $10 down on your first deposit. When you choose a bet and submit a wager of at least $10, if your bet wins, you will get a bonus bet based on the odds of your wager. So if it's greater than or equal to -500 or less than +300, that's 50. greater than or equal to 300, plus 300 to plus 900. That's $200 in bonus bets. And if your odds are greater than or equal to plus 900, you will receive $400 in bonus bets. So join Bally today. And the link is in the description. Now, this is void in Canada, but if you're in Ontario, you can simply click the link, which I would do if I were you. Just saying. Yeah, I think that maybe the Leafs can trade Austin Matthews, guys. How many bets can we put on Bo Grew to get hat trick tonight? What do we think? Can we get a hat trick tonight from Bo Grew? What's that payout? I wonder. Hayden says no because I think he's not thrilled about it. He's not thrilled about that idea. Canada Matt says Grew shouts, freeze Ray, and buries it. It's true. JD Atkinson, so Grew is never clearing waivers again. I think that's probably a fair point. Butcher 705 says we can't even effing lose properly. Also, hi Adam. Hi Butcher. Nick Salapudis. Have the Leafs forgot to throw in the towel? Yes, they have. Craig Berube got to them once Matthews went down. You know what? Maybe it's Austin Matthews has been holding down this team this whole time. Trade him. He's a net negative. Make Bo Grew the captain. He's about to outscore Marner, Matthews, and Nylander combined. Here comes Nick Robertson. Puck behind him. Nobody knows where it is. Bummer. Randy's Ride said, Mr. Bo Grew, how do you do? Welcome to the show. Hell yeah, buddy. Bo Grew. Who knew that Bo Grew was the man to solve Jesper Wallstad? And let me say this. If Colorado and Dallas knew the effect Bo Grew would have, if they knew, would they have traded for him at the trade deadline? You have to wonder. Quinn Hughes, I think, is not going to the box. I think Yarncroke is. And it's a bizarre call, and nobody's happy about it. So what happened? So the puck. So it's Hughes going to the box? Why is Yarncroke going to the box? Holding the stick. Oh, Callie. Yeah, that's stupid. What are you doing, dude? This is why I said, like, I was, people think we're like negative. I'm like, no. Yes, a little negative, but it's because they're doing it wrong. Put Pizzetta in there. What are we doing? Come on. Alex 9269. Oh my God. Almost like bringing up young players and letting them play was the answer the entire time. You know who said that originally? This great podcast called the SDP. Have you heard of it? Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Bunch of wannabes is what I always say. Butcher 705. We could rebuild the team with a Matthews trade. He has no trade protection. As in, he has a no movement clause, which limits what you're able to get because he'll give you 2 or 3 teams that he'll go to, maybe even just the one, and then you're screwed. So not actually true. But people waive those things all the time and you get good returns. Like Quinn Hughes' return would have been more if Quinn Hughes didn't have any trade protection. But he's still got a damn good return. It's not going to the return for Quinn Hughes, though, is not going to rebuild the Canucks. Zeev Bouillam's great. Liam Ogram's great. Marco Rossi can be a good player. You know, Hayden knows Marco Rossi quite well. But I have to tell you, like, to the idea that this Matthews trade would just magically go, oh, well, the future is now. Remember, when you're trading for prospects, they're prospects. They might be good. We know Matthews is good right now. JD Atkinson grew. Minions. Tonight we steal 2 points. I like that. That's funny. Evan Richter. Austin to the Sabres. The all Arizona line with Doan, Matthews, and Thompson. That'd be good. That'd be good. But no. No, it wouldn't. Not going to let it happen. SLS 98. Random thought. I like the NHL games don't have any music during play. NBA does, and it's annoying. MLB games too, especially the Jays between pitches. You know who doesn't like music at games at all is Alan Walsh, because he's like, when you go to Europe, Boldy flipped one in on Stolarz there, and Stolarz was going the wrong way, almost caught him. But Stolarz got the glove in front of it. when you go to European games, they don't play music the same way we do, where we just blast it in between play. They let the fans do it. The chanting, the drums, the flares, the everything. Oh, Zuccarello with another beautiful opportunity set up beautifully by Kaprizov, and he just misses it. But he had Stolarz down. That Zuccarello's like fourth great scoring opportunity that's just flipped by his stick. Hayden's like, this is why I wanted them to get Besser last trade deadline. Yeah, it would have been good. Besser buries that. Oh, big shot. And Stolarz is able to stand tall. Zuccarello, like, I feel like he should just go snap that stick in half. Look at that. Oh, Mats. Butcher 705, no movement clauses are suggestions. They're kind of like stop signs. Exactly. Just gives the player control. Anybody that, like, it's always funny when people are like, you can't move that guy. You just go to no move clause. I'm like, do you guys pay attention to the trade deadline ever at all? Nazem Kadri has a no movement clause. You guys know that, right? He traded though. But how? Because he waived. C. Landy, what would Nylander to Chicago look like? Would it be like, I mean, they've got a good system. Yeah, it would start with Frank Nazar. Starts with Frank Nazar, who hasn't had a goal since like October. He did get injured. He's on my fantasy team. I'm not salty about it. I'm very salty about it. Nazar, I don't know their system well enough, but you're getting like a first, Nazar, and a defensive prospect too. You've got to essentially, with Nylander, with Matthews, you got to get what the Wild got. So a player who's a pretty good player now in Marco Rossi, 2 prospects, and a first-round pick. Who do you have, Hayden? Frindell? Okay. Swede for Swede. Todd Pickle says Nylander for Kevin Korchinski, 1-for-1. Do it. Brad, call Kyle Davidson. Do it right now. Click. Pictures of Spider-Man. Click. You have a good... Oh, Frank has 3 goals in the last few games. Well, good for Frank Nazar. Good for him as he sits on my bench. I didn't make the fantasy playoffs. I'm sad. What's that, Hayden? What do you got? Would you trade Willie for Boldy 1-for-1? Yeah, I think I would. I just want to check Boldy's age. Yeah, I would do that. Yeah, it would age you down, right? The thing with Boldy too is that he's just coming into his own, whereas Willie's in it. I don't know that Minnesota needs an older, higher paid winger though. Yeah, I don't think Guerin does that, but I sure would. I sure would. Koki Doki says, who the F do you think Nylander is, man? Who do you think Nylander is? He's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal hockey player. He's outstanding. He might not be tough, but that guy, he's actually of the core 4 of Tavares, Nylander, Marner, Matthews. He's the one that's been the best in the playoffs. Yeah, I think people sleep on William Nylander still, and it's because he's Swedish and he's quiet. There he is right now. Shot went high. That's also something he's prone to, shooting over the net. Cody Koki says, yo, you're undervaluing him. I agree, Cody. He's friggin' amazing. But you need to get, what I'm saying is you need roster player, 2 legit amazing prospects, and a first rounder for William Nylander. And you need at least that for Austin, perhaps more. And you'd have to get, like, I'm talking A-plus prospect. So I one of the things I'm interested in is like, how does the college free agency thing play out? Leafs ice the puck, 7 minutes left in the period. I'm very curious to see how that plays out because there are a few centers that are available that might be interesting to them. And the Leafs have a lot of ice time and a lot of development to give. Like the Leafs, the one thing we can still definitively say about the Toronto Maple Leafs over the last couple of years is they have a pretty good development staff. Look at how Bo Grew has come on. He's 26, but he's flourished here. Jacob Quillen's looking pretty good in this lineup. Looks like an NHL player. Bobby McMahon from the ECHL to the AHL to now. You look at Wall, who has built his career here. Dennis Hildeby, who's built his career. Artur Akiyamov, who just signed the extension today. He looks like he's going to be the 3rd goalie next year. They're probably going to move one of Stolarz or Wall this offseason. right? Trade from a position of strength, bring up Hildeby. You know, you gotta have good pro development staff, and I think that is really appealing to some of these college free agents who are, 22, 23 years old. Luke Hames, Hayden, he's been doing pretty well in the AHL, right? Luke Hames. Yeah, he's coming on strong, and it was a bit of a slow start for him. He scored a lot in the last month, and that's usually what happens. Is it takes them a while to figure it out, and then snaps and they're good. He might be a guy that plays some games next year, and I know that's like, oh, cool, Adam. What a hot take that is. He might be a guy who plays some games. Really, really lukewarm take, but this is a guy who they just got for free out of college. And he might be playing NHL games for them next year if he keeps this up. He's going to have a hot start in October, have to have a good training camp for whoever the head coach is. There could be a player there, right? Boldy has never scored more than 80 points. Yes, but don't worry, he will this year. Okay. Oh, we're going to have a fight. Is Carlo and Zuccarello? Are Carlo and Okay, Carlo, we're going to get... Zuccarello is like a full foot smaller than him. I like that they're angry at each other, though. This is fun. Hey, nice for the Leafs to get mad once in a while. Get pissed. Throw some... Oh, look at Carlo. He's on the ice, and Hartman's grabbing his mouth. Get that ref's butt out of the way. I want to see what's going on. Yeah, Carlo. Listen. Hayden's laughing at Carlo. he's like, oh, he's tough when the guy's like shorter than him. I'm like, yeah, but listen, Carlo is usually a big teddy bear out there for us for some reason. He was a Bruin at one point. Hard to believe. What happened here? So he pushed Zuccarello into McCabe, and then Zuccarello came back and then punched him. So he's just trying to knock him. Punch. Oh yeah, punched him in the side of the head. Okay. Well, I like it. By the way, Adam, you look a bit like a young James Rolfe. I don't know who that is. James Rolfe. Let me look that up. Hayden, is that a compliment? James Rolfe. He's an American YouTuber, filmmaker, and actor. He is best creating and starring in his comedic retro gaming web series, Angry Video Game. He's the Angry Video Game Nerd? That guy's been around forever. I remember watching him on like GeoCities, man. That's crazy. Randy's Ride says Villeneuve needs to be called up. I agree. Leafs, okay, if you're a Leafs fan, start paying attention to the Marlies because you kind of want to see what they have, right? William Villeneuve. He's their power play guy. He needs to play some NHL games. Needs to. Chiefs Meanie says, as a Bruins fan, I think y'all had a misconception about Carlo. He's just been this way for years. After the concussions, he just hasn't been that tough. And you know what? That does happen with players. He's on the last year of his deal next year. He's going to get traded. And there are plenty of teams that need a right shot 6'7" guy. The Leafs could be one of them. And I think maybe they should be. You just got to be a little bit tougher. JD Atkinson, with 26-27 cap being $104 million, how much do you retain on Mo? I'd retain up to $2.5 million. That gets smaller as the cap grows to 133 by 2030, 2031. I don't think you have to retain on Mo. I think because the cap is going up, Morgan Riley still has. Let me see how many points he's got right now. Morgan Riley still has 32 points. There are plenty of defensemen in the NHL who are making at or around that amount of money. And here's the other thing. Maybe you're not like, okay, we'll retain, but maybe you're taking some bad money back for a year. So maybe that team's got a contract they don't want. And the Leafs go, yeah, okay, we'll take that back. So it's like retaining, but it's not. You're just getting a player back. 4-on-4 here because Carlo and Zuccarello, the guys, honestly, if you were to line two players up before the game started and been like, these guys, they're getting roughing penalties. It would have been Zuccarello and Carlo. Hayden says, what? You think it sucks for the Wild? It's a bad trade for Minnesota. Yeah, getting Carlo off the ice and getting Zuccarello off the ice, I'll take that for the Leafs all day. All day. 6 questions. Lent says, I thought they said a young James Wolfe. I was like, Wolf, don't go anywhere near Quebec City. That's a War of 1812 joke. It's a very niche category, but don't you worry, I got it. Don't you worry. Flurba says, which former Leaf does Dubas trade for next? You know where Riley would be sick? Dan Muse's system. No one's going to believe me. If Riley plays for Dan Muse, Riley's going to look like a Norris Trophy candidate next year. And I think it's time for Chris Letang to retire. I don't think Chris Letang has it anymore. It's time to go. Hayden says Riley Carlson is cursed, though. That's true. But I don't know. And Dubas loves Riley. Loves him. JD Atkinson trade Mo to San Jose for Logan Couture's contract and a pick. Maybe even just straight up. Oh, boy, we got a tripping call. McCabe and Kaprizov were both going to go. Both are going to go to the box. What did Kaprizov do? Kaprizov saying F you to McCabe, and McCabe's laughing, and he's missing some of his teeth. What happened there? It happened behind the play, so we couldn't see it on camera. McCabe for trip, Kaprizov for a dive. What is it? All right. Oh, it's a little interference. They both fall. And Kaprizov's pissed. And McCabe's laughing at him. It's nice to have the Leafs. Yo, where was this attitude from the Leafs before? Whether or not you agree with the call or not is immaterial. But if you're a Leafs fan or you're not a Leafs fan, you know and I know that a Leaf player laughing at another player going to the box flat out didn't happen earlier this year. Yeah, that's actually a shit trade for them. McCabe off and Kaprizov off. Yeah, I'll take that. The 4-on-4 is starting to even up here. Look at Bo Grew out there, as Hayden points out, with Nick Robertson getting some 4-on-4 minutes. Let's go. The Grew crew. Ryan Hartman. Across. That puck is tipped a little bit, and Jonas Brodin is going to grab it. Robertson giving chase. Brodin back to Ryan Hartman. I almost said Zuccarello, but that's 38, and Zuccarella's sitting in the box. 4-on-4 for another 33 seconds, where I think it will continue to be 4-on-4. Myers along the boards. Boldy. The Wild have absolutely controlled every second of this 4-on-4. Perhaps Bo Grew and Nick Robertson was not the greatest idea that Craig Berube's ever come up with, but I respect him coming up with it. Metal Wolf says, does Jesse do watch-alongs? Yes. Yes, he does. I think he's going to be doing some for the playoffs, and he did a lot for baseball last year when the Jays went to the World Series. He was awesome. But yeah, I don't think we have. Can't say that yet. We've also got some secret stuff coming up. It's exciting. Very excited. It's funny. I'm just sitting here watching McCabe, and he's like laughing on the way to the box, and he's getting under people's skin. I'm like, guys, where was this in December? Honestly, I can't think anything other than I think these guys just didn't like this coach. And I think this team was better than they showed this year. I really do. Heck, you know what? If they hang on to Riley and he's got a system like Dan Muse does, he might be a good defenseman again. Maybe even for the Leafs. But not under this coach. Skipper Bass says the Leafs could really have used Grew 3 months ago. I love how they are consistently late to everything. Yeah, I mean, even 2 months ago, when Grew really started taking off in the AHL in November. But, you know, up until this point, Berube flat out refused to play anyone from the AHL. And you got to remember, NHL coaches don't watch AHL games at all, ever. which is why they're so loath to play AHL players, because they're not friggin' educated on it. That's why you got to rely on the staff around you. And I don't think Berube trusted them. I don't think he trusted the Leafs analytics staff. I don't think he trusted the people upstairs who were like, hey, keep bringing up Quillen. And Berube would be like, sure, I'll play him 4 minutes. JD Atkinson asks a very good question. Is Steve in the blue room or is it actually the Gru room? Oh, Nyes just drew a penalty. Let's go. Let's go team in blue. You know, I tweeted and I was being funny, or trying to be anyway. It was time for the Minnesota Wild to see a real team when I was promoting this stream. I did not expect that the Leafs would be up 3-0. I didn't expect the Leafs would be up 3-0 again this season. Maybe not even this calendar year. All right. So 2:42 left in the second. It's going to be Nyes, Nylander, Tavares, Riley, and Michelli. Mario LeGroux ruining our draft pick potential. Leafs out front with a shot on Matthew Nyes' puck goes wide. Michelli running point with Riley. Nylander behind the net with the puck. Out to Michelli. Michelli's got Riley free at the point. Tries to shoot it on, which nobody expected. Nobody there to get the rebound, but a smart play by Michelli back to Riley at the point. Riley to Michelli. Michelli winds up, not able to handle that puck. Down low to Tavares, Nylander open on the wide point and was looking for it. They could not find him. Francois LaBelle says, I just got back from a family dinner. What is this bizarro world? I know, this is weird. This is a very weird situation. The Leafs never play the Wild well either. Ever. Good save by our good friend Anthony Stolarz on Mojo, Marcus Johansson. Randy's ride. Hot take. Sign Radish and Mario Ferraro. Move Carlo and Riley. Take a chance on a Pettersson or a change of scenery forward for a second line. New coach. Let's go. Well, I like your idea of Radish and Ferraro. I think you're very likely to see Carlo and Riley traded. Pettersson, I think, needs to go to a market that is not as media intense. Honestly, the things that I'm hearing out of Vancouver, I don't like what I'm hearing. I don't like what I'm hearing on that front. I'm not. Put it this way, I would be very concerned if the Leafs traded for Elias Pettersson. Anybody who says that, I'm like, I'm not sure that you've got the insights in the Vancouver market to say that with a straight face. Go ask the people that work there. I'm staying away from that. I'm not buying Pettersson stock. And I think he was a great player. Francois LaBelle dropped 5 SDPN memberships. How about that? Thank you, Francois LaBelle. And welcome back from dinner. JD Atkinson, go Islanders. So Islanders got screwed out of an all-star game. Got a first overall in Schaefer. Good suspension by Department of Player Safety. The Leafs get a first overall? No. The Leafs are not going to get anything. The league smiled upon them once 10 years ago, and we got the Austin Matthews pick a year after missing out on the McDavid pick by 1 lottery ball. Jello says Vancouver doesn't want to retain on Pettersson, but also wants a huge return. They're very strange. Well, I mean, what are they going to say? No, we'll sell him for nothing? They could say that all they want. They know they're not going to get that. Randy's right. Thanks, Adam. I have no insight into that. Who would you take? So, Randy, I like what your idea is. Player that needs a change of scenery. I don't have anybody in mind. Sorry, and Randy, I wasn't insulting you there. I've heard that on Toronto radio a few times this week, and I've been like, why don't you call your friends in Vancouver and check that? Oh, out front, Tavares just missed a beautiful opportunity, and he looks to the sky because that's frustrating. Yeah, you need change of scenery, guys. You need guys you can bet on. You need to get younger. The Leafs are too freaking old. You need to start getting guys in, 22, 23 years old who might be able to break out. And this is where you need great pro scouting. You know who's really got great pro scouting? The Dallas Stars. Unreal. Unreal. They can find guys. They always find guys. That's a team. Now, they find a lot of guys through the draft, I will grant you, but they find guys. And they're not sloppy about it. They're really clean with the guys that they find. It's like, yep, that guy fits. He's a Dallas Star. This works. Rennie says JT Miller ruined Elias Pettersson. If that's true, then Elias Pettersson was never going to be great. And I hate to say it that way because it sounds extremely unfair. But, and I'm not saying that Canucks management was right to sick JT Miller on Elias Pettersson the way they reportedly did. I'm not saying what Elias Pettersson went through with JT Miller wasn't horseshit, because I think it was. I think, though, that life's going to throw you shitty people or people that are shitty to you. You got to rise above it. But you can tell he doesn't want to be there anymore. He doesn't want to be there. Skipper Bath said, this season will go down as one of the strangest of the decade or the beginning of a new era in the league. Standings right now are absurd. I think the second one more than the first. I think this is, yes, it's a strange year, no question. I think we're seeing a changing of the guard. And you know what? It had been the same few teams for a while. It had been, and some of those great teams are going to stay great. Tampa's still great. Colorado's still great. Dallas is still great. All those teams have been to the Stanley Cup final. Vegas is interesting. I don't know that they're great. Vegas is old. The Golden Knights are old, man. And they play like shit. They're bad. Like if the Leafs were in that division, they would be in the playoffs. We'd be talking about who they added at the deadline. Crazy, right? Hey, we got Final 20, by the way, with Bally Bet coming up here. Let's do it now. Let's get everybody in because you're all here. So why don't we play a little Final 20? This is going to get you into the draw for a $400 gift card to where you say? Fanatics, where you can buy whatever you'd like. Now, Final 20 is fun because it requires you and I to go through and make a bunch of predictions. But I want you to sign up and play, okay? You sign up and play. We'll play together. If you do very well, $400 gift card. Come on. We love that. Now, Hayden's got it up on the screen. We're going to just let people sign up and get ready. And it's going to ask us 5 questions. And 4 of those questions are the true questions. The last one is just sort of a tiebreaker. And because the Leafs have been extremely unpredictable these last few weeks, I haven't done all that well when we've been doing these. Like tonight, I don't even know what to say. You could get the Leafs coming out in the third period, laying an egg, and Minnesota coming back and kicking their ass. Totally possible. Nobody would be surprised. Or it could be a 5-0 game and everybody's like, wow, why? Anyway, are you ready to go, Hayden? Let's play Final 20 on SDPN. Okay, so pick a Maple Leafs player to record at least 1 point in the third period. Well, it's not going to be Nick Waugh. We got to his name out of there. Let's get Matthew Nyes. He's looked active tonight. Matthew Nyes has drawn a penalty, had an opportunity. That's going to be Matthew Nyes. Pick the first Maple Leaf player to record a shot in the third period. That's a very interesting one. Not going to be OEL. He's injured. Not going to be Waugh. He's not there anymore. You know what? John Tavares. John Tavares is going to do it. Johnny T. Okay. Number 3. Pick the first team to record a shot in the third period. That's a tough one because if this was coming out of the first period, I'd be like the Minnesota Wild. What are we, crazy? But they didn't have a great period. And they're a little tired. Second half of a back-to-back. Do we risk it and take the Toronto Maple Leafs and have a little bit of faith? No, let's go Minnesota. Minnesota. Fourth question. Will the Maple Leafs score in the first 10 minutes of the third period? Hayden is trying to get me to say no. There's a reason why there's a green outline on that. That's because he's a Wild fan. And you know what? I think Hayden's right. Hayden is trying to skewer the results here, kids. No, the answer is no. The Leafs will not score in the first 10 minutes. Now, predict the number of shots by both teams in the third. I think John Hines is going to tear the paint off the walls and they're going to come out. So I'm going to say the Wild are going to get around 15, 16 shots. Let's say 16 for fun. The Leafs will get 7 and 23. 23 shots. Does that seem right to you guys? Let's go over the picks here. Okay. Pick a Maple Leafs player to score at least 1 point in the third period. I said nice. Pick the first Maple Leaf to record a shot in the third period. Johnny T. Pick the first team to record a shot in the third period. Minnesota Wild, obviously. Will the Maple Leafs score in the first 10 minutes of the third? I say no. I say no. And the exact number of shots by both teams in the third period, I say combined is going to be about 23. I think it's going to be a crazy third period. We will see. I hope you got your answers in. If not, click the link, get them in. And remember, there's a $400 gift card to Fanatics to get yourself whatever you'd like. That's what's on the line tonight. And that is why you tune into the Bally Bet SDPN Sunday Night Spectacular Sunday Funday. That's a very long name with your boy Adam Wylde. Now, Hayden, what clip are we going to here before we go back, come back for the third? Are there any Ottawa Senators fans in the chat? This is us breaking down the Ottawa Senators getting their pick back. And by the way, I'm happy for the Sens. I'm happy for Andlauer. And I'm happy because Gary looks a little weak here. Check it out.
Let's move on to the other big story. And this is a bigger national story that happened yesterday, which is the NHL announced the Senators are getting their first round pick back.
Boo.
NHL modifies penalty to Senators for canceled trade. And this is from the National Hockey League website. The NHL announced today that it has decided to modify the disciplinary sanction originally imposed on the Ottawa Senators franchise for its role in connection with the July 2021 trade of player Evgeny Donatov from the Senators to the Golden Knights and subsequent invalidated March 2022 Dadonov trade between the Golden Knights and Ducks.
That's such manipulative language. We modified it.
The sanction,
you walked it back.
The sanction originally imposed on the Senators provided for forfeiture of the club's first round pick in one of 24, 25, or 26. The Senators subsequently applied to the league for reconsideration and relief for the original penalty, citing primarily the change in club ownership and oversight, which, in the club's view, changed the appropriateness of the penalty initially imposed.
Hog shit.
After due and thorough consideration, the league decided that the modification of the original penalty was warranted and accordingly has amended the club sanction as follows. The Senators' penalty will now involve the forfeiture of their first round pick in 2026 in favor of the right instead to pick a 32nd overall in the 2026 draft, the last pick in the first round. The club will not be permitted to trade or transfer the 32nd overall pick. In addition, the club will pay a fine of $1 million. Now, I want to let's give you some lore. You guys want to go on a story? A little adventure? I got a story for you. Let's talk about Michael Andlauer for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to start this segment by saying I'm really impressed. I'm happy for him. And I'm happy for Sens fans, legitimately. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Michael Andlauer was a majority owner of the Montreal Canadiens for years.
Minority.
Minority, excuse me. And that's what I meant to say. And wanted to be an owner, like a full-time, the majority owner. But, the NHL wants to vet you. They've had some bad experiences with some bad owners.
Sure.
And, the Sens became available when Eugene Melnyk died.
It's the reason they went with him over Snoop Dogg.
That's right. There were multiple bidders, including a group headed by Snoop Dogg.
Oh, there you go.
For the Senators. Some of the bids at the time were reportedly, gentlemen, over $1 billion. But the NHL felt most comfortable with Michael Andlauer because A, they knew him. B, they knew his business and how he made all his money. C, it was just him. So he wasn't coming in as the head of a consortium. It was just him owning the team, knowing the league and knowing how it worked. Because too, when you bring in a new owner, they don't know how shit works. You look at what happened with Fenway Sports and their sell-off of the Penguins, which is ongoing. Fenway Sports hates the way the NHL is run and stopped sending people to Board of Governors meetings because they hated it so much.
That's so insulting.
Isn't that insane?
Yes.
So in real estate or in corporate acquisitions, you would call Michael Andlauer's bid a clean bid. One guy, the money's verified. You've worked with him before. This is a clean and easy transaction.
Least amount of risk.
No complications.
Yep.
The issue with a clean candidate, guys, usually is that a clean offer is usually the lowest bid. And the reason for that is the attraction which the bidder puts in, which is, hey, I'm less of a headache. I'm good for it. I'm just not going to pay what those guys are going to pay.
That's the discount you get for being a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
fair.
Discount.
And if you're the seller, you're kind of like, fuck, do I want this to be tied up for 2 years or do I want my money now? So I can invest my money, reinvest my money, especially if it's close to $1 billion. I can make money on that money. I would lose money trying to close this deal, right?
I want money.
The NHL wanted the Sens to go for $1 billion back then. And you have to remember, this is before the Coyotes were transferred out of Arizona to Utah,
Right.
for $900 million or whatever that was. And the whole goal was to get every franchise up over $1 billion. But they realized, well, we're not going to be able to get $1 billion offer from the guy that we want. And Lauer says, I'll do $800 million, which is think about that. That's an astounding amount of money.
It's also an astounding discount.
Yes. But at the time, it wasn't. At the time, people were like, oh, Senators for $800 million? That seems about right. Remember, this is 4 years ago. It's a long time.
Wow.
So beyond the fact that, beyond the $800 million bid, Ann Lauer was correct in assessing the market, which is hard to find sponsorship in, corporate sponsor, because it's a government town, right? So it's harder to find the bigger corporate sponsors there. It also needed a new arena, which Eugene Melnyk had completely fucked up, right? LeBreton Flats, it wasn't going to happen. Now it's happening again because of Michael Landauer.
I'm sure that place exists. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like, it's like QAnon, you're just not really, it's.
I don't know if it is. Like
So they put on the charm offensive. The NHL and the Melnyk family put on the charm offensive. Mm-hmm. And they finally, Gary is very involved in this process. This is an important point. Gary finally gets Michael to come up $100 million so that it's acceptable to the Senator. Remember, there was also the Ryan Reynolds bid too, which was competing with Snoop Dogg. So Ryan Reynolds was almost in there. Gary got Michael and Lauer to come up $100 million, and the Sens sold for roughly $900 million.
Huge.
Okay?
Huge.
Now, then once he's in the door, transaction complete, ink on paper, which takes the entire summer. In October, November, the NHL slaps his franchise with this penalty,
right?
Which, a screw up conducted by Pierre Dorion, where Genny Dadonov was traded to Anaheim via Vegas at the trade deadline, a move which the NHL blocked and screwed Vegas at the deadline.
Screwed them.
They were trying to clear cap. Dorion did not properly disclose Dadonov's no trade list to Vegas before he was traded, and therefore Ottawa was held responsible when Vegas had the trade blocked and complained to the NHL. Now, that cost, it would have cleared $3.375 million for the Golden Knights. And obviously the trade was null and void, and it was a crazy story at the time. You can be forgiven for not remembering it fully because it was 2021. We were just coming off of COVID. Now, when this happened, and this is the key, Jesse, and I want you to bring up this YouTube short.
Okay.
Michael Andlauer, when this penalty was leveled, Michael Andlauer spoke fairly candidly about the decision. And I remember this press conference and remember thinking, I'm going to have to file that away. And you know how terrible my memory is. It's awful.
Adam, we've known the outcome of this for years.
We have. But these comments are extremely telling, and they give it away. Have a listen to this. It's just a minute long.
And my follow-up question to that would be, you just kind of mentioned how you never anticipated this, you sort of inherited this situation. I think a lot of fans are wondering why this organization have to pay for something that happened 18 months ago, not even on your watch. What would you say to that?
I totally agree with you. That's a question you have to ask the NHL, why it took a whole year since the hearing. Granted, it was a 2-day hearing, 73-page reports. It's not something that just slam dunk. And the commissioner had a lot of time to deliberate on it and think about it. But why I inherited this is beyond me. There's no reason for it to last that long. I knew about it through the due diligence process, and it was basically, from the seller's perspective, it was really a non-issue. So, I don't know if first round is a non-issue to you guys, but it is to me.
So let's leave it there for a sec.
That was the end of the video.
Let's leave it at the end of the video.
Okay, so he says,
Funny.
from the seller's perspective, it was a non-issue. Who did I just tell you stage managed this entire video or this entire deal?
Gary Bettman.
Gary, yeah, G baby.
So the seller's perspective is coming from who? Through who?
The sell is
Gary Bettman.
Gary Bettman. G.
Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
So Gary Bettman, why did it take a year after the hearing to come up with a decision? Because when you don't have a first round pick, that affects sale price.
Oh,
And so Gary,
Adam, are you implying that he was intentionally dishonest?
I'm implying that he might have left it out. Now, this is all alleged before anybody gets mad.
No,
But
just
the Melnick, here's what I know. The Melnick Trust, who work very closely with Gary.
I can forgive someone for making that assumption of
Mike-
that alleged action.
Michael Andlauer's words is that this was a non-issue by the seller. Who delivered that message? That'd be probably Gary or his people.
Yeah,
Now-
Andlauer spells out, I think, what we kind of all assume happened behind the scenes there.
But
Gary
Bill-
Bettman's lying.
Bill Foley, Jesse, in Vegas, brand new owner, spent a lot of money doing great things, hadn't won the cup yet. He continued pushing the NHL behind the scenes. He was pissed, and I don't blame him. Now, Gary knew he was going to have to drop the hammer, but as we've already pointed out, why don't we just wait till the sale closes and then we'll do it?
Can I point out why he was pissed? Not only did Vegas miss the playoffs that year, they missed by 3 points.
That cost him millions.
3 points. So oh no, the Sens got fined $1 million Canadian dollars. If the Vegas Golden Knights are able to finagle the cap like they wanted to, get those extra 3 points and make it into the Stanley Cup playoffs, and let's say they only play one round, they would have made exponentially more than what the Senators had to pay as a fine. So this deal cost the Senators $1 million. It potentially cost the Vegas Golden Knights a hell of a lot.
I think it's
more.
probably about 10 million.
A lot of money.
Probably about 10.
A lot of damn money.
So for Gary's part, he did the lawyer thing. And the lawyer thing here is play for time and hope that the public forgets. Remember, he waited 18 months to assign the penalty.
Gary never has to worry about that. No one cares about your product, bud.
Gary waited 18 months to assign the penalty. Then he waited another 2.5 years to amend the penalty yesterday. And suddenly, it's been 5 full years, March 2021 to March 2026, since it happened. And the NHL knows that the public, who have lives and kids and jobs and everything else, are going to forget. You play for time, people will forget. And the NHL, when they leveled this fine, it was against the franchise. The NHL in its statement says, well, considering that the general manager is gone and that the owner is gone, well, we understand why they're applying for this. No.
Why on
No.
earth does that matter?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But what Michael Andlauer has here, and this is where I have to congratulate him, is leverage beyond leverage. Because I can
he did a great
guarantee
job.
He pulled up emails.
Oh yeah, nothing against him. Nothing against him whatsoever.
He went, let's just he went to Gary and said, listen, you amend this or these emails are coming out.
That's what you think happened?
I'm 99.999% sure. Because Gary's not going to do anything unless somebody's got leverage. You got to remember, Michael Andlauer is 1/32 of his bosses.
The Leafs are up 3-0 because of course they are. I texted my wife at intermission, who I believe might be asleep on the couch because she's refusing to watch the Leafs right now. And I said, hey, they're winning. And she has said nothing back yet. I'll let you know if she responds. But she's like, she's so mad at the Leafs that she's just refusing to watch anymore. Okay. And you know, I can't say I blame her, but she's missing Bo Grew. And I feel like that's a shame. I think that's a shame. You know? Augie Dog says, I sure hope my theory of Minnesota throwing to get WC1 is true. Yikes, this week has been bad. I don't think they're throwing. I don't think they're throwing. Sometimes you just have a bad week or two. They'll be fine. So Philly shootout loss, then lost the Rangers yesterday, and now they're losing to us 3-0. I don't think, listen, this season ain't over. This race ain't over. they've had a great year. You're allowed to have bad moments. You're allowed to have bad weeks. Take it from a Leaf fan who always had a bad week at the middle of April. It's okay. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Corrupted 101 said, thoughts on the McDavid comments on player suspension. I sort of gave them a little bit earlier in the stream, but I'll repeat them very quickly. I think it's great that he said something. I think for there to be real change in the NHL, players like McDavid need to say something. And the one criticism I have for his statement is he said, well, I know it's a hard job. No, it's not a fucking hard job. A hard job, I'll give you a hard job. A hard job was when I used to have to dig out pools and do stamp concrete around them and install, like I've installed in-ground pools. That's a fucking hard job. Throwing down rebar in 35-degree heat. Yeah, it's not even a mentally taxing job. Like you're reviewing rules and cow and stick just broke randomly. You're reviewing rules and you're watching tape of the previous night's highlights going, should we suspend that person or not? It's not hard. Hayden said, I bet it's hard on minimum wage, but that's not what he's doing. No, George Peros is making like more. It wouldn't shock me if he was making more than $1 million to do that. And he's got a team of like 18 people. I'm sorry. You want to talk about corporate bloat? You need 3 people in a room. And you know what? It shouldn't be former players that are doing it. It should literally be like people they need to be like training people who are like, I am an NHL rules person, not a former ref, not a former player. I know the rules. And I'm telling you, this is our benchmark from last time. They don't have any benchmarks. They don't want them. Here comes Hartman. Oh, puck is intercepted. They don't have any rules. And they don't enforce any rules. It's such a joke. Like the fact that a former player is even doing this, are we kidding? Especially a guy that's an enforcer. Get out of here. Chiefs Meanie, in case anybody's wondering, the Oscars are tonight, and we had a tie for best live action in a short film. It's the first tie since 2012. Good for them. That's great. Meme Empress, 35 degrees Celsius with or without humidity. Oh, that's with humidity. This is Ontario. There's humidity here. He's wearing old hats. I remember I used to come home. I don't know if you guys have ever worked in concrete, but when we did pattern concrete, you pour the concrete and then you trowel the concrete, and then before it dries, you put the color on the concrete, right? And it's this powder that you're literally just like throwing everywhere, like it's I don't know, I don't know if you've ever like anybody drink creatine here. It's like that weird, very, very fine powder. You're pouring it, throwing it all out, and then you take these gigantic rubber stamps that are 12 to 15 pounds a piece at least. Not even that. They're heavier than that. They're 40 pounds. And you put them on and you stamp on it. But that's after you've applied another layer of dusty, shitty powder that's black, and it's called release powder. So the concrete doesn't stick to the stamp. So you get the color, and then you get the black powder, and then you get the stamp, and then you stamp on the stamp. And that leaves this like cool stone-looking thing. And instead of interlocking bricks, you get patterned concrete. That's what I used to do. That's a hard job. There's a reason why I don't do it anymore. When I got back to school after that job, I had the greatest grades I ever had because I was like, there's no way in hell I'm doing this the rest of my life. And this is why I do this, because I love this. I want to do something that I loved. It's crazy. To say that job is a hard job, give me a break. Give me a break. Meme Empress, ouch. Definitely could have been worse too, like in Florida. Yes, absolutely. Florida, people working outside in Florida, I don't know how they do it. Would literally die. Somebody just asked me, did I mix the concrete in the drum? No. I did have to mix. We didn't have a drum because the guys I work for were too cheap. If we were mixing cement, which is without the stones in it, we would do it by shovel in a wheelbarrow. which is such a pain in the ass, let me tell you. Concrete would come straight off the truck from Pick-A-Mix, which is the company that runs all the concrete trucks here in Ontario. You'll see them, they're yellow, and they still say Pick-A-Mix because they have different mixes that you can pick from. It's a very interesting title for a business. It's kind of perfect. Corrupted 101. Also, thoughts on Friedman's report on Matthews? I didn't think that anything Fried said was any different than what we kind of already knew, in the sense that, and I'm not taking shots at Fried. Like, I think a lot of people watching were like, whoa, of course they're going to have a conversation with their best player about the future of the team. They should do that. He's the captain. I would hope they would do that. But yeah, I think he's going to be a Leaf next year. But yeah, I don't think, like, I'm not taking shots at Elliot at all. I have the utmost respect for Elliot Friedman. What I mean is that I don't think that particular story, people are looking for a story here. And I think what Fried is trying to say to people is like, yeah, they're going to talk to him in the offseason. Can you imagine the Wild didn't talk to Kaprizov? You know what? The Oilers, we're going to have a meeting with McDavid about the team. So Hayden just said they asked Kirill if it was okay for them to make the Hughes trade. But like if he was down. Like, yeah, of course you're going to communicate with your guy. Eskibra says, hey, would your boogers turn gray from the powder? Oh, we got a goal. And it's Tarasenko. I'll get back to the boogers. Because, yes, Tarasenko with a goal. I believe Minnesota got the first shot in this period, and they also have the first goal. And we've got 5 more minutes to find out if I was right in Final 20. Will Toronto score in the first 10 minutes? Didn't think it would look that way. There's only so long the Leafs could keep this up. And Simon Benoit makes a terrible play here. He rushes it and fires it right at, I believe it's Ryan Hartman. And then he gets it to Zuccarello. Zuccarello's been super active all game, finds Tarasenko for one of the easiest goals Tarasenko's ever going to score. It was a beautiful pass. And there's vintage Vlad Tarasenko. Francois Labelle, Ducks break the tie in the last minute of the third, 4-3 over the Habs. The Ducks are a damn good team. I don't hate the Ducks. I'm not a Gudis guy. The Ducks are rock stars, man. They're so good. And Benoit just, by the way, I want to go back to the Benoit play. What the hell was that? What are you doing? Between him and Myers, I'm like, you guys can't keep doing this stuff, man. You're going to find yourself out of the league. Zuccarello scores. It's 3-2. And the Wild are back in this game. You know what? I don't think I'm that upset about it. Wow, what a goal. What a goal. Was that Zuccarello or was that Tarasenko again? No, it was Tarasenko. Oh my God. I got the names wrong, but holy shit, what a goal. Vintage Vlad Tarasenko. And again, it's his defenseman, Morgan Riley, in his face. He can't see anything. So Berube's telling them to calm down, get your shit together. Oh, man. Oh, the Leafs can't help but be themselves. Oh, man. Hayden is just having a good old time. Leafs call a timeout. The jerseys are on the screen. Damn. Now this is on brand Toronto Maple Leafs hockey. Tarasenko with 2 goals in 20 seconds? 15? Man. They are so bad. It's crazy. Their defense is awful. You could see how pissed Stolarz was. He looked to the side like, So, who will get the hat trick first? Is it Vladimir Tarasenko or is it Bo Grew? We got 2 guys on hat trick watch. Bo Grew, Vlad Tarasenko. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things does not belong. The Ducks just hit the post twice on an empty net. You know what? I'm okay with it. I'm still part of the pro Ducks lobby. But you know what? They could step on a few Legos. Okay? Richard Triofino, as they say in the movies, this is pod racing. Yeah, okay. Yes, Hayden, what did Steve Dangle tell you? He's right. He's right. Steve said to Hayden, I have no idea what I want to have happen right now. I think we all know we want the Leafs to at least let the Wild tie this and win it in either heartbreaking fashion for the Wild or have the Wild win and you go, well, tank is on. Apparently, if the Leafs lose tonight too, they're going to fall four places in the standings. I don't know how true that is. Somebody told me that, and I want to find out. Leafs are. Oh yeah, they might. Well, they're not going to quite fall that far, but there will be some teams that'll be able to pass them. And they've played a lot more games than some of the teams behind them. They might want to lose this game. Right? Well, they might want to. It might be a good idea. .13:05 left in the third period. Hayden, do you think the Wild have it to tie this game? Diego Bonaparte says, Adam, maybe it's not such a good idea for your wife to watch the rest of this game. Don't worry. She's at home watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Can I tell you about that? Have you guys watched that show? It's a show, a reality show. And it's really good. And it's based on these people, these Mormon wives that were all like swingers and they all became super prominent during the pandemic. And they've all like made out with each other. It's like their husbands. It's bizarre. Bizarre. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And it's enormously popular. Enormously popular. And they're all super young, like millennials with a couple of kids, but they're all divorcing and like dating each other. It's crazy. It's like Vanderpump Rules, but everybody's got two kids. Oh, up front! Oh, close. Anyway, my wife's watching that. She's like, I'm not watching the Leafs. I can't do this. Zuccarello turns the puck around, excuse me. Over to Hartman. Tarasenko is out there, as I believe is Bo Grew. Will we get a hat trick on the shift? It's a giveaway. Hartman to Zuccarello. What a save by Anthony Stolarz. Anthony Stolarz might have just saved the game right there. And Zuccarello is robbed again for like the fourth time this game. And Dakota Joshua puts one off the post on the other end. Oh, the game's getting wide open now, folks. Oh, Tavares almost has a steal. Zuccarello to Kaprizov. Nylander was standing at center ice. I think if Kaprizov knew it was Nylander, he would have just driven right through him. Spurgeon, puck around to Benoit. Michelli with the puck. Eriksson Ek tries to steal it from him. Down low to Nylander. Nylander, puck across. Stetcher's going for it. Shot. Rebound. And Wallsted's able to make the save. It's a wide open game in a blizzard, frozen Minneapolis St. Paul. Wow. Zuccarello's going to score tonight, right? Even if they don't win, Zuccarello's going to score. He has to score. That's what, 5 or 6 quality scoring chances for him? He's everywhere. He's been awesome. Absolutely awesome. Bo Grew, head member of the Grew crew. Let's go. You know what? I'm enjoying this game. I kind of thought. Oh, Hayden's got a good point. He's got a Hayden? You got me? You can hear me? I'm back online. I think people can see me. Hayden doesn't think that you can see me, but I'm watching myself. Now you can see me. All right. Hey, we're back. Sorry, guys. I got a little excited there, and the mic came unplugged from the computer, and then I had to fix it, and then I had to mime for you. Did you like my miming? I learned that in grade 9 drama class. Okay, are we ready? Will the Toronto Maple Leafs hold on to the lead and defeat the Minnesota Wild Magic 8-Ball, you saucy minx? My sources say no. Magic 8-Ball, the bringer of terror and sadness. Oh, no. Jake McCabe is hurt, and he's really hurt. Please do not leave the bench, Well, you know what? Maybe it's time to sit Jake McCabe for the whole year, too. Honestly, well, yeah, bring up Will Villeneuve. Let's go. Come on. Oh. We're still good, right? You can see me, right? Okay, cool. Just checking. People are like, I'm hearing and seeing nothing. Is that true? No. That couldn't be true. All right. Listen, I had to mime for you guys because that's the kind of sacrifices I make. Myers is not able to get that puck. Man, Myers is having a rough game. Let's just call it what it is. He's having a rough season. Not Hayden's like rough career. I'm like, I mean, he did get that kind of nice deal from Philly back in the day. But yeah, he's not been good this year. Objectively bad. Oh, Robertson gets leveled by Nick Foligno. Marcus Foligno's not in the lineup tonight. Heather, the Avs fan, mime at him for the win. Oh, I think the Wild are going to the box. Oh, no. It's Robertson. Oh, no. Are the Toronto Maple Leafs going to have to kill the pet? Look at this Philadelphia Flyers fan. He's just going berserk behind there. Why do you, man, that's a difficult fan. I'm going to just be a Flyers fan at this Minnesota game. Might need to go back under and fix the mic. Is there something wrong with my mic? Oh, they're messing with me now. Okay. There is a poll in the chat. Oh, which is better, mime Adam or normal Adam? I'm going to go normal Adam. No, you can't vote for mime Adam. Mime Adam ran out of moves pretty quickly. McCabe got a puck in the ribs. McCabe is back. Yeah, McCabe looks like he's back, but should he be back? That's my question. Are we doing right by Jake McCabe continuing to play him in this, or should we just put Villeneuve in? Yeah, Hayden said Jake McCabe is not a guy that pulls himself from a game. That's true. Jake McCabe's face is made of marble. You guys know that. I actually love that player. I think we got Chris Tanev, OEL, and Jake McCabe next year. Ben Danford's going to come in. Benny D. Marshall Rafai will be in there. Will Villeneuve will be in there. I'm interested. If they could just not suck like this year's team, that'd be cool. Because they were bad. Francois LaBelle says, Gripper Adam. That's me. Pelly says, Adam, it's time to face reality. It is, actually. Yeah. John Lee says, Carlo is signed as well. Yeah, but Carlo's going to get traded. He's getting traded. All right. Robertson to the box for slashing. The Leafs are going to have to kill this penalty if they want to hang on to the dub. And he got crunched by Foligno. And I'm sure he just came back and was like, you know what? Go F yourself. He gave him a good fat slash across the legs. Although I didn't see it. Robertson crushed by Foligno. Where's the slash, though? Show me the slash, Sportsnet. I don't think they got it. I don't think they got it on camera. Still not exactly sure how he slashed him, but I'm going to have to take the ref's word for it. Hayden said, do you want Robertson back? I don't know that Robertson wants to be back. I don't know that he wants to be here, although he's been given the opportunity to succeed here. Career high in goals and points this year. You could probably trade him. I think he wants to go. That's okay, though. You know, the thing about Nick Robertson is I will always respect the fact that every time he's on the ice, the guy hustles. There's never a shift where Nick Robertson is dogging it. Ever. Ever, ever. And he's been worth the $1.85 million they've been paying him. 45 seconds into this power play. Couple of opportunities there for the Wild, but nothing scary. Here in comes Quinn Hughes. That's always scary. Uh-oh, here he goes. And his shot redirected by Stetcher's stick and into the netting. 1:05 left on the Minnesota power play. Quinn Hughes has 31 power play points this year. 31. What an animal. Nikesh Jagan says, imagine if Nick had Jason's size. I know. There is, seeing them together, I'm like, man, there is a size differential there. If he was tall like his brother, it might be a little bit easier for him because with the speed he has and the strength he has in his skating, like when he came out of junior, wasn't known to be a great skater, but he has worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. I can never say with Nick Robertson that he doesn't put in the effort. That guy lives and breathes hockey. All right. Hayden said a lot of trust in Bo Grew here. Yeah, the thing about it too, Hayden, is like, yeah, they're trusting him out there on the shorthanded. They don't have a choice. You can't put Tavares out there every time. In fact, you shouldn't put Tavares out there at all. You can't put Domi out there on a shorthanded play. So who you left with? It's like Grew and Lorentz. Boldy. Zuccarello back to the point. Hughes to Boldy. Boldy skates low. Looking, watching. Hughes to Boldy. Boldy's going to shoot here. Oh, fakes it. Everybody went down and expected it, including yours truly. Boldy along the half wall, holding that puck. Back to Zuccarello, over to Kaprizov. Pass isn't fast enough. Tried to get it to Boldy, who, if he'd received it, would have had a wide open net. But it was interrupted. Hughes with a shot. Big save by Stollers. Hughes wound that thing up like it was the 1980s, man. Back to Zuccarello at the point. Shot into the corner. And that puck is able to get out past the blue line. This penalty is over. Robertson's on the ice. And Robertson almost leveled Matt Zuccarello, but didn't do it because that would have been a charging call. Francois Lebel, Beckett Seneca got an embellishment penalty. I didn't think those existed, just like Bigfoot. Everyone talks about them. No one has seen them. It's true. It doesn't happen a lot. Seneca got roughed up pretty good against the Leafs, too. The Leafs were pretty upset after the Matthews thing. So, like, you know what? Let's make life horrible for him. And that's kind of what they did. .6:27 left in the third period. Nylander falls in the offensive zone. He was going so hard, he blew a tire. And this is the Leafs' new first line, by the way. Nyes, Nylander, Tavares. Well, excuse me, Michelli. What am I saying, Nyes? Nyes is on the second line with Domi. That's where we're at. Ian Ball, this team smells like a bag of potatoes left in the closet for a year. Oh, like the potatoes with like the weird roots sticking out of them and they're a little soft and smelly? You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Hayden said it's weird that other vegetables go bad, but potatoes search for soil. They almost get up and walk to it. It's crazy. Hayden, do we have to do a read here? Okay. 5:44 left in the third. Shot again. What a save by Stollers. I think that was Zuccarello. And it was right off the blocker. It was either Hartman or Zuccarello. I can't tell. And that was a hell of a shot and a heck of a save. Out comes Troy Stetcher. He banks it high off the boards. Risky play. Able to get it out. Falls into the stick of Middleton. Back to the neutral zone. Yarncroke, Lorentz, and Bogru out there for the Leafs. Bogru on a hat-trick watch. Yarncroke giving chase as Nick Foligno throws the puck in. And that puck skirts out. Grew is after it. 4:51. The Wild are looking to tie it here. And the pace of play has picked up significantly in the last 5-10 minutes here. Been a lot more of an exciting game. Both teams absolutely exhausted, you can tell. They're both on the second half of a back-to-back. Both teams lost last night. The Leafs should have lost. They were playing the Sabres. The Wild shouldn't have lost. They were playing the Rangers. That's wild. And they lost to Philly earlier in the week. Oh! Anthony Stolarz! I think that puck went off the post. He was just... I think that was Zuccarello again, and he just... Oh... He's been so active tonight, but he has not put one in. Tarasenko is out there. He's on hat-trick watch. Shot from the point. It's blocked by Brandon Carlo. Zuccarello with the puck in close. It gets through the defenseman, but not the goalie. Anthony Stolarz standing tall, building some confidence in this Leafs defense, which has been atrocious in front of him all night long. Wow. Zuccarello, listen, I don't want him to score. I'm a Leaf fan. But he does deserve to score. Let's just call it what it is. All right, now, this is the Bally Bet SDPN Sunday night stream. Now, you can join Bally with the code GOTOTHENET. Download the Bally Bet app, and register with the promo code GOTOTHENET. Make your first deposit, choose a bet, submit a wager of at least $10, and you get this. If your bet wins, you're going to get a bonus based on the odds of your wager. Odds are greater than or equal to -500 to +300. You're going to get $50 in bonus bets. Odds greater than or equal to 300 or 900. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets. And if your odds are greater than or equal to 900 plus 900, you guys know, receive $400 in bonus bets. So join Bally today. Link is in the description below. It's void in Canada, but the link in the description. If you're from Ontario, click it. Trust me. All right? Must be 19. Dominic, sorry. Hey, Adam, I'm wondering why at this point Craig still deserves his job, because it's the players' fault, not him, and management has said the players are the problem. Do you think I'm completely off base? I don't, first off, I haven't heard the management come out publicly and say the players were the problem. Management's line until a few weeks ago was they didn't believe they'd given Craig Berube the right tools to succeed this year. I think it's just not a match. I don't think Craig's a bad guy. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's a good coach. Yeah, I mean, it's not like he will get hired. He's going to work in the NHL next season. No question. I just don't think this system works for Toronto. And I also think, from what we saw when Matthews went down, there's a significant culture issue in the room, and it's okay to say that. It's not these players hate each other, or it doesn't have to be that dramatic. Sometimes it's just, do you give a shit? And that's the worst problem of all, because it's the hardest to solve. You can mend hurt feelings. It's hard to mend apathy. It's hard to, and you know what? I'll give the Leafs credit tonight. And since that moment, they've decided that, okay, we're going to play hockey again. They were bad. They were never this bad, though. They never should have been this bad, but they quit. They quit on their coach. And you're seeing what happens when they put in a little bit of effort. They are in this game leading against the Wild. Yeah, a couple lucky goals, but you got to create opportunities to be lucky. They're not this bad. I don't think Craig Berube should be in this job. I think they should have fired him in December. I think that was clear. But Brad Treliving is a great guy. Genuinely, everybody likes Brad. Brad's problem is that he's too indecisive. And to a person, you ask people around the NHL, that's their biggest frustration with Brad Treliving, is that he is not decisive in the moment. Needs to be more decisive. I think they need a different general manager. But personally, I will always respect Brad Treliving, the person. I think he's a good guy. I just didn't. I haven't loved every move that he's made. Kind of liked the fact that he was trying to rebuild the blue line. Oh, Eriksson Ek with a shot. It got old and slow real fast. That's the problem. And I also don't think he was decisive enough about Morgan Riley last summer. You should have moved on. Oh, Natalie Drake says a critical yet rational take in this economy. I don't know about that. There'd be like, if I said that on the podcast, there'd be like 40 people going, "You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about." But that's okay. At least they're listening. I don't know what that is, Hayden. Oh, yeah. Okay. Next time there's a stoppage in play. Sorry. By the way, shot attempts are 85-47 in Minnesota's favor. So in case you're looking at the score going, how did Toronto do this? Luck, a little luck, but they are playing and they are giving the puck up a lot. Their defense stinks. Oh, it's so bad. Myers and Benoit are having a bad game. Riley's not been great. Oliver Ekman-Larsson not being in the lineup, I'm like, there's nothing left here. Here comes Hartman, bringing it across. The Leafs have been clearing, and the Minnesota Wild have been reloading and coming right back at them immediately. Immediately. This is what the Wild are so good at. They can just put pressure on you. They'll come at you. They'll come at you. They'll come at you. Now, their greatest enemy right now is the clock. 1:45 left on it. And a good play there by Kaprizov and a great save by Stollers. Now the Wild have an empty net, and they get control of the puck. And this is a very scary-looking lineup. We got Hughes. We got Middleton. We got Hartman. We've got Tarasenko. We've got Eriksson Ek. Oh, no, we don't have Hartman. It's just Eriksson Ek and Boldy. Trying to get Tarasenko that third goal to tie it up. We are on Vlad Tarasenko hat-trick watch. Quinn Hughes with the puck. Down low to Kaprizov. Back to Quinn Hughes. Zuccarello is now on the ice. He's been active all night. Over to Kaprizov. That's like the 5th time that's happened. Zook and Kaprizov have set each other up like 5 times, and each time they can't get the handle on it. Quinn Hughes was able to strip Matthew Knies, who should have had an empty net goal there. Stollers came out of the net to play it. It went over his stick, and the Wild are going to retrieve back to Quinn Hughes. Loads up from the point. That is blocked, and Matthew Knies is going to outrace Quinn Hughes for the puck. The Leafs win the game. The Leafs score, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are, in the weirdest way possible, winning this game against the Minnesota Wild where they really shouldn't have. But Quinn Hughes was exhausted. He's played basically the whole game, and that block by Matthew Knies was a big one. Knies able to outrace him, and Hughes just cannot get the positioning on him. I'm sorry, producer Hayden. I'm so sorry. You needed the win. We needed the loss. Nobody gets what they want tonight. No, nobody. Are the Leafs about to make the playoffs? We'll see. We'll see. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. Unbelievable. Good for Matthew Knies. Oh, Rayner says, hey, final 20 Knies winner. Oh, right. Did I say Matthew Knies would score, or did you say that? Did I say Matthew Knies? Did I say we get a shot? Did I say Matthew Knies would score? I'm pretty sure I did. Man, the Leafs are back. Leafs are back. So all the way back. .2 seconds to go. They basically just called a timeout so Quinn Hughes could breathe. Oh, Hines looks pissed. Look at him. Or is that just how he looks? Hayden? Oh, he's got the angry face. Okay. Well, we're gonna get victory on the LFR tonight. I don't know if Steve's gonna be happy. I'm sure he will. And by the way, oh yeah, Spinorama makes a good point. Matthew Knies was a Minnesota Golden Gopher, and he seals it. Wow. This is, I mean, the Leafs are not technically eliminated from the playoffs. Can this ragtag group put it together? Hayden is so mad at me. He's like, stop. Can the Leafs do it? That's what the people want to know. Is Bo Grew? Oh, by the way, let's get this out here. Put that up on the screen, Hayden. Big shout out to our friend who made this on, who was it on when Bo Grew scored 2, Gage Lapierre sent this to me because I was making fun of, I'm like, am I a YouTuber? Yeah. You know what? That's a killer thumbnail. We should probably use that. I think that's an AI generated Austin Matthews. And who's the duck in the background? That's not Bo Grew. Is Bo Grew the next Austin Matthews? That's not Austin either. It is me. That is me. It's a weird Austin. His eyes are too far apart. It's weird. It's strange. Hayden and I are trying to figure out what's wrong. That's definitely AI. Definitely AI. John says that's actually Jackson Lacombe. Oh, now that's funny. You know those YouTuber. What's with the thing too? Oh, by the way, game is over. Leafs win. Woo! Suck it, Magic 8 Ball. You were wrong. They didn't give up the win. Magic 8 Ball. It's not really that magical, is it? Not really. Well, listen, guys. I had a ball with you on this stream, and so many of you were hanging out with me that really, honestly, don't you have anything else to do other than watch the Leafs on a Sunday night? Like, seriously, what's up with that? But it's been a real pleasure. I had a lot of fun on this stream. Producer Hayden had a lot of fun on this stream until Matthew and I scored, and then he got real quiet in my ears. Real quiet. He's pissed. He's seething. He's angry. And the Leafs, they're going to the playoffs, kids. I'm kidding. But I'm going to leave because we're all very tired. Hayden's got work he's still got to do. So Hayden ran the chat and the stream tonight. So please give Hayden a big shout out and a big hug virtually because his team lost to my stinky team. I mean, come on. What's the excuse? And I had a blast with you guys, and I'm excited for tomorrow because we get the new Steve Dangle podcast tomorrow. And remember, this week, we got Steve Dangle podcast Monday and Tuesday because Steve's going to be in Truro, Nova Scotia, reading books to children. We'll see if he's literate. And also, brand new Nailing the Apex coming out right after the show. Tim and I are breaking down the Chinese Grand Prix. So if you can't catch it tonight, catch it tomorrow on your way to work while you're waiting for the new Steve Dangle podcast, which will be ready for when you drive home from work. Okay? Love you all. We'll see you later. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Good night.